I'm Chase.
And I'm Timothy.
And this is Customer Service.
All right. We're back in here.
How we doing?
Okay.
Bondo. You missed work yesterday.
C+, yep, a rarity for me.
Yeah.
Once again, I just wanted to see how many times I could get food poisoning in a single year.
Jesus Christ, dude.
It has to be what it was. I started the night before. I told Abby, man, I'm feeling bloated and I have acid reflux. You know what I mean? But I was we ate kind of a spicy pasta for dinner, and I was could just be that, whatever. So I took a, Pepsid or whatever those things are, and thought, man, it'll be fine. Went to bed, didn't think anything of it. All night long, I kept waking myself up being God, I'm having really bad acid reflux. And then by the time I woke up in the morning, I barely slept, and I felt like I had a flu. My body was super achy, and everything hurt.
Yeah.
When you're sick.
Yeah, totally.
And I was
Your joints
I'm just
are tight
not
and shit.
feeling great. And I was so I took some medicine for it and stuff like that. And more serious stuff, and I was okay, we'll see if this will probably pass in a little bit. And then it just kind of got worse. It was I was having a full.
Yeah.
The only other thing that it could be that I've looked up, and it kind of makes sense if this is a repeated thing, is that I may have an ulcer. There's not really much you can do about it besides alter your diet sort of for a while, which is fine. We're just going to have to eat much blander things.
And you think this is something, ulcers are genetic, correct?
And I think they form a couple different ways, but stress mixed with acidy food mixed with, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Because from what I remember, I knew an older fella, a dad of one of my friends who had ulcers, but he was a drinker.
Yeah.
And you can get it from drinking heavy, right?
Yeah,
but you're not drinking heavy, bro. No. You're drinking water wine.
I drink almost nothing.
It's been a long time since you've
Even
been
water
drinking
wine
heavy.
is really a summer thing, and then in the winter it's basically nothing unless we go to a dinner or something, which I don't do a ton of.
Yeah.
So no, it's not that.
Interesting.
So I don't know. I don't smoke cigarettes. Haven't done that in forever, so it's not that kind of stuff can kind of eat at you a little bit. Mm-hmm. I don't really do much of anything, as far as what could be doing it, other than spicy food or something like that. Or it could just be stress ulcers. I don't know.
Sure. And you are a stressed guy.
Mm-hmm.
We got to get on top of that in the new year, huh?
Yeah.
We're setting ourselves up here so that at work, maybe you're slightly less stressed because we have an extra body or two, or what?
Yeah, sure. I don't think that I think if you're just a stressed out person, you've been a stressed out person for a long time, and it's a harder thing to shed. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It doesn't, I don't know that it's that either. I don't know how you get that tested, but it's also it's when you it's if you break a finger or something, it's not a ton you can, it just has to, you put it in the thing and you wait, it's kind of that. Yeah. So I don't think there's anything I can do about it. But it is weird that I've had this a lot this year. I mean, with Japan, I had it multiple times just for no reason. There was one night where just I went cold, you know what I mean? And then just was sick all night. But I don't know.
Could it have been maybe you had the beginning of an ulcer? This is us talking medical, and then Japan got on top of you, and then it exacerbated. I'm
maybe
curious,
this also Gia just went through this where she had
sick for 3 weeks.
But it would be it would be there for a day, and then she'd throw up or something, and then it would be done. So maybe it's just I'm still going through that a little bit. I don't know. And everything I ate was the same as what Abby ate. So it's not it's hard to believe it was bad food unless she just has a steel trap and I don't.
Which again, it's hard to believe that it was bad food in Japan because we ate side by side at the exact same moment.
And then it just hit me at a different time because I didn't eat much on the plane.
Huh.
Dude, I don't know.
I don't know, bro.
I don't know what this is.
Well, I hope you're feeling better. You're here today.
I feel much better. It got, I don't know if I never need to go into these details, but it got halfway through the day and I was I need to do something because this is I was worried I was going to have to go to the hospital. This is getting actively worse.
Jesus,
my back hurt, everything hurt. When you get a flu and it's just everything.
Yeah, it feels like every joint needs to crack
hurts.
kind of too. It's tight, a little rickety little.
It just kept being bad. So I made myself throw up and then it did seem to get better. It got better kind of, I fell asleep after that finally, and fell asleep pretty good for a few hours. And then when I woke up, I felt better. And then I got up and I feel well enough I got to eat something. I got to put something in there that's not just medicine.
Yeah.
So I ate some, melon and banana and stuff. And then I started feeling better. And then by the end of the night, I was feeling much, much better. And I feel 90% today. So makes me also think most likely it was I don't know. Who knows what the hell this is? I think I just got to stop. I don't think I can eat hot sauce. I gotta like just chill for like months. I think I can't eat like anything. Everything's got to be kind of bland. Which is
we're gonna go back to the 6-year-old in the Midwest diet. My sister did it. Gia it's weird how Gia leans. We're talking bread and butter, buttered noodles, mac and cheese, mild. Butter, salt is the flavor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think I gotta just chill for a little while. But I don't eat. It's not like I'm regularly eating crazy, so I don't know.
You don't eat crazy.
I'd say most of the time during the week, our meals are like chicken, broccoli, rice type of deals. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or it's like meat, vegetable, or something. Mm-hmm. Like we eat pretty like that throughout the week, and then usually throw a couple random things in the weekend. But I don't know. Feel semi out of the weeds though. So yeah. Hopefully that's the last one for the year. But the way things have been going, I got 20 more days at least to fit another one in. So
goodness gracious, see. Yeah. Well, we'll see.
What about you? What's going on with you? Anything?
Nothing too serious over here. Mm-hmm. This weekend, Saturday, we dicked around at home. We bought Michonne's dad a pair of Orslo Slim Fit fatigues from an unnamed place because we are currently out. Mm-hmm. But he really liked. Michonne was just back home with her family. He really liked. We bought her brother a pair from us when we recently restocked. We're since out, and he was like, "I really like those, dude." So he really liked those. So I hemmed those up for him on Saturday. I had fun doing that. I hadn't hemmed non-jeans in a long, long time. Mm-hmm. I think
it's not that hard. It's just a lot of prep.
Prep, dude. Yeah. That's it. And like being all right. So you want how much off? And I ended up popping the seams and doing the whole 9 yards. But nonetheless, found a pretty tonal match thread, and I think I did a pretty good job considering I hadn't done it in a minute.
If you've done all the prep work right, if you have the machine set the way you need it to be set, the actual doing it, unlike when you do chain stitching where it's like all technique using the machine, you know what I mean? It's a different thing.
Yep.
Whereas like that's why I'd rather mess around with the machine, quite frankly, than the prep is the pain in the ass.
Prep is also pain in the ass.
It's so often that people or yourself only once like something dumb like a 1/4 inch or an inch off, and then you're like, now I got to pop the seam, I have to iron that out, take out the right amount, then figure out how much seam I need to leave so that I can get the exact same amount so it looks the same. You know, it's just so much of that bullshitting around.
Yeah, making sure that you're not leaving the previous stitch line in the middle of the hem, so you have a weird texture going on.
It's annoying.
So did that. That was a lot of fun. Then Sunday we all went over Coops, and we were jumping on the trampoline per usual. I brought wings from Whole Foods. Abby whipped up a tomato soup and grilled cheese, and we kicked it. Yeah, it was fun. Just a really chill weekend. Kind of used it to recoup. Slept, took a couple naps. It's good.
I didn't really do anything, I don't think, because it's like Saturday. We just kind of like we had a couple like errand things to run.
Didn't you? You went to Estes.
Oh Jesus, I forgot. I'm all screwed up because I wasn't here yesterday.
Did Abby tell you Gia was pissed at me because we were me, Gia, and Rye were on the trampoline. G kicks it. She fits in with the late 20-somethings, early 30-somethings just fine.
You know what I mean? Identifies as.
She likes to kick it with us, but Rye goes, "Oh, Gia, I heard that you went and saw Santa Claus this weekend." And I said, "Yeah, they went out to the mall." Because you had told me you were going to the Cherry Creek Mall to see Santa.
Oh, yeah.
And so she goes, no, we didn't. And I said, oh, okay. All right. I said, maybe they didn't. I said, but gee, like, it's like an indoor building with a lot of stores. Like the mall. And she goes, no, we didn't go to the mall. And then eventually threw her hands up over her head and was like, ugh. She was pissed. Yeah. And she was trying to explain to me we didn't go to the mall.
She doesn't know where it was, but she knows that you're not right.
She knew that I was wrong in the mall, but she couldn't tell me otherwise. She doesn't
put up with that. Like with people telling her that she's wrong, like if she believes it or is right in this case, right. Yeah. She will not. It's a very proud thing I have because she ain't putting up with bullshit.
No, she's not gonna agree just to move on.
To move on, yeah.
No.
Yeah, we went to Estes Park, which is like, people that aren't from here, it's a weird little kind of kitschy town.
For people who aren't from here, you might know it. It's where the Stanley Hotel is, which is where Stephen King, not Kubrick, Stephen King got snowed in at the Stanley. So The Shining is based off his experience at the Stanley. Yeah. Now it wasn't filmed at the Stanley, neither indoor or outdoor.
If I'm not
filmed.
mistaken, though, either the facade or part of the inside is used. Do you know what I mean?
I'm under the impression that they use The outside shots are from a hotel up in Mount Hood. And then I believe the interior shots are in the UK. I could be completely wrong, but nonetheless.
I don't remember all of this. I know that Stanley Hotel is used in some way during, but it's not like the main. It's not like,
okay.
But it's got the hedge maze out of it.
Right?
It's got
yeah. It is.
I want to stay there because and you know what, the bathrooms. You know the bathrooms where the weird nude lady is in the movie.
Vaguely.
Those bathrooms are from the Stanley. So there's like elements of it. I just don't. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. And I will say, dude, like think about it. Like Estes now is very developed and very much so like a.
Well,
you know, it's the main
for tourists.
For tourists, I was gonna say it's the main entrance to Rocky Mountain National Park. Yeah. So for that reason, they get a ton of traffic in the summer. So it's got saltwater taffy places,
like
ice cream places. Yeah, it's all 8 of them. 6 chocolate stores.
A million places selling sweatshirts that say Estes
Park. Yeah. So it's obviously what it is in 2020s is different than it was when Stephen King stayed there. But I could imagine being snowed in, kind of, you know, maybe power went out.
No, have you ever been there at night?
Dark. Yeah, dude, it's scary.
Because I've driven back through it at night, and it's been like, oh, it's creepy. Like nobody's here, nothing's open, but everything looks old timey and it's kind of strange.
Yeah.
And like there's that old theater that's really cool that stands up higher than everything.
Yeah, dude.
It's a very creepy kind of place at night.
Yeah, they've really turned that place into like an institution. You can have weddings and shit there, but one of the times my mom was out here, we walked around. She wanted to see it, so we walked around in it. And you can walk around,
and it feels like a mountain town, especially during the day. So it's like so we did it just because it was like, oh, it'll be kind of like there's like a couple Christmas stores that are open at that. There's a guy that like hand makes ornaments, and Abby likes to go there and get one a year.
She was saying that's sick.
Yeah, so we went there, and then it was just something to walk. But they ended up doing like a Christmas festival thing. So we kind of knocked out seeing Santa. They had Buddy the Elf impersonator.
I heard Buddy was kind of balls to the wall. He was Buddy.
Yeah, he was all in.
Yeah,
didn't really look like him, but he. Vibe wise, and then there was like Elsa and Anna from the Frozen.
Yeah.
So we got all of that. There was people doing ice carvings. It's like a whole
sick.
We got it out of the way, you know. Yeah. That's because that's fun stuff to do with a kid, but it's like not even as an adult. You're like I don't want to do this. Like it's like standing in line and doing weird. But it was fun because up there everything was free and chill. It was kind of for the public. It was cool. Great dogs. They have a lot of great dogs up there.
They breed them well up in
different dogs.
Did you guys go to the Mexican restaurant that you like?
No, we didn't. We were going to, but we weren't that hungry. And there's like a little like 50s kind of diner thing. We just stopped in there. And it was kind of.
Was it a lady's name?
Probably, yeah. I think so.
Yeah. Diner's on the left side of the building. And there's something else on the right side of the building.
Yeah, I think it's the opposite, but yes.
Okay, I've been there. I've been there.
It's fine.
Right, if right. Almost right outside the town as if you're going to the national park. I know what you're talking about. The
entire staff looked like they were from SLC Punk, the movie.
Yeah.
Or something. It was very weird, like Nowhere, like a Greg Araki movie. It was very weird.
How'd you end up here?
Yeah, it's like why this 50s diner did you guys all decide to work together?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
But anyway, it was fine.
Estes is cute.
I didn't do anything, just worked on some of my arts and walked around the house and
love it.
Didn't know I was gonna get rocked so hard later that night. So
yeah, bro.
You know, nothing exciting.
Cool. Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, we got some mail, which we'll talk about it, but it's in my top 3s of cops.
Oh,
so we're gonna do the top 3s list today. But I just want to say right off the rip, left hand, right hand to God. Cheddar was wrong. The Neuro Fuzzy rips. If we made 250 batches of rice with our old rice machine, which that might be a little high of a number, but we got it right when we moved in together. So we've been making it for years. Mishan did 1 pot on the Neuro Fuzzy thus far. It was infinitely better than any other pot we've made. Perfect.
The rice is like perfect. The easiest thing in the world.
I was telling Al, it is so fluffy that it could float off the spoon, dude. It's crazy. So
I especially notice it on like good jasmine rice because I feel like that's weirdly harder to cook than like sushi rice and stuff, or at least like it's a lot less. It's more finicky, I guess is what I mean. So it's like always the same. Yep. Everything's the same every single time on that bad boy, and it's always good.
I love it so much. It's one thing that just entered our house. We're both really stoked on it. It's nice and modular. You can put it away nicely. Cord wraps up into the bottom of it.
And it's like cheap for what it is in my mind.
Dude, And if we're talking, that little pot of rice would have been worth $5 to me. So break down the price, what, 220 divided by 5. So like what? You got to make 30, 40 pots of rice to get your money back,
even
dude.
Even if it was $500, I would pay $500 even if it was only going to be one time, if it meant I didn't have to like basically ruin the bottom of a pot trying to make a decent.
I'm not
you know
doing
what I mean?
that. No,
I hate that. It takes forever. You soak it for 3 days.
Yeah, I'm not doing that shit. No, and we've committed. We're gonna take really good care of it. I am the lazy one between the two of us, so I'm gonna step up and really try to take care of it.
It's like non-stick. It pops right out of there. You can't really mess
easy,
it up.
bro. Yeah. Easy. So the Neuro Fuzzy is absolutely stellar.
I really want to move to a situation. There's no reason for it, but like I don't need my oven anymore. Like the amount of times the only thing I use the oven for is like you do like a lasagna or some type of bigger bake sort of thing, which I can live without personally.
Yeah.
Everything else can be done in the air fryer.
Well, here's the thing,
faster and kind of better if I'm being honest with you, and it doesn't stink up the house as well. It needs to be clean. I almost want to buy a new one just to
the air fryer start fresh.
But if I had that and I had one of those little stove things like the I can't think of what the name of it is, but like the just on the counter one,
a little range.
If I had one single one, you know what I'm talking about? Like
I know
when you watch like cooking videos online, they always use them. If I had one of those, and I had the rice cooker, I don't need anything else in the kitchen.
Timbo, I'm actually 100% with you. One, I hate our electric range. I fucking hate an electric range, and It's so stupid.
I agree that it's stupid.
I hate it because our old house had gas, dude, and I loved our old
I love
setup.
it for cooking, but for you and I's OCD, it's miserable having the gas.
Oh, because
I'm always worried it's leaking.
Oh! I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So for that reason, I love it because I just look and I'm like, it's all off. I feel it. Yeah. I'm like, not hot. Good to go.
Yeah.
No other danger can happen.
For some reason, that was never really my thing. Is always more around doors and windows.
What do you think? It's like, but also like this is how I got over it. I'm like, what do they want? Most things that are expensive, I got on me. You know what I mean? Usually, I don't wear my watch every single day, so I guess that would be a slight concern.
I mean,
but
here's
it's
the
also
thing.
It's because I put it away properly. You'd have to know where you're looking and then open 3 boxes to find it because I'm anal about it.
I can make it easy for you.
The
I got
guitars
nothing.
And stuff. I mean,
I got nothing.
I'd love to replace them. They're insured.
Yeah, great. And then you get
new stuff. So I don't really care.
I got nothing that people want. Unless you were to steal my Visvim jacket and my Capital jacket. Like, truthfully, like, my PC's trash. My laptops are all trash.
Well, you got a place where you can get them at a discount. Pretty good one. So
yeah.
you're good.
Yeah, it's all good.
I'm just like, always like, what are you
going to... that. Yeah.
Yeah, what do I care? And if you pay for renter's insurance, which you don't, you should because it's cheap and it covers you, and then you're good. And then who gives a shit? You know what I mean? It's like, come take it.
Yeah.
What do I care? Leave the cats. Don't mess with the cats.
Don't take Henry.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about Henry in 1 second. But I'm with you. The gas range, I know that you used to take photos before leaving the house to make sure the gas wasn't on. And
but that's the thing about the gas, is the one that can fool you because even if it looks good, it could be leaking or something. And then, like I said, this had gone on forever in Chicago, and then one day it was leaking, and I was like, there you go. This is what I prepped for.
Yeah.
And now I can't. Now whatever. If I could have been loosening my grip, I got to tighten it up again.
Yeah. No, I feel you. How did we get on this? Oh, gas range. Anyway, I hate the electric stovetop, so I'm with you. I could totally see getting one of those little, what is it, propane then?
Yeah, you can do a propane one. Honestly, the induction ones are the ones that are really good, and I don't understand what the difference is, but it goes really fast and is a really like tight temperature gauge. It's the one people use when they do like cooking videos and all that.
It almost, I'm not going to lie, it almost makes me want to get a nice little, even a 2-top. Range to just set on top of the electric range.
I told Abby, I said, honestly, I don't know why. If we had the single guy, because I don't like doing a lot of things at once anyway. I'd rather do things little by little. Yeah. It's only ever I do it because of Gia. But if it could just be the air fryer on top, if that could just be countertop instead of an oven and a range, then I could just keep all that stuff there, and I've got more space.
Have you ever considered Big Pengy in Discord, I believe? Correct me if I'm wrong. He just copped a Breville, like a stovetop oven. Like it's like the photo had a rotisserie chicken in a toaster oven would be what I think it would be called.
A toaster oven. Yeah, I know what you're talking
would
about.
you ever one of those?
That feels the most eloquent way. If I've got the air fryer, I don't really need it. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really need it.
Yeah. So anyway, Neuro Fuzzy rules.
Honestly, my whole thing as I get older is I don't think I want to cook anymore. I want to cook one time a week. I want to cook on Sundays.
What do you want to do?
I want to get Sweetgreen every single day, or something of the like.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
Any sort of fast casual chain that does semi-healthy stuff. That's
Kava.
what I want every single day.
Dude,
Whole Foods, take it out of there. We go to the Flower Child, any of these types of places.
Yeah.
Just do that every single day during the week. No smell, no cleanup.
I mean, I'm with you for the record.
Yeah.
I think it's great. I like cooking though. I'm in the cooking phase still. You spent a long time in
the
it.
Week, bro. I just don't want to do it during the week anymore.
You know
Especially
what?
after having a kid, because now you're doing multiple things. You got to think of,
That makes
To be honest with you, if anything, I like cooking for Gia because you have to like. We're over the top. We have like those trays that have all the different compartments, and I fill every single one with different fruits and vegetables, because you never know what they're going to eat, so you got to kind of give them a spread.
What do you think? And then I have a couple of things I want to talk about, and we can get into it. What do you think it is about? Because I'm with you. In fact, I like, similarly to you, building the little tray for Gia. I think that I could see where that's fulfilling as a father.
No, I think number one, I should do it as an adult. Abby and I were just looking at
But why
them.
don't you do it for yourself?
Because I don't have a tray that's the size. I just need to get one. And I've looked at them. I found some cool stainless steel Japanese ones.
Yeah.
And I think I'm just going to get those because it kind of forces you to be like, oh, I've got 2 empty spots. I got to fill them with something. Plus, it's portion control because you can only fit so much into a thing.
Yeah, I feel you.
And half the time, if I don't do the thing I normally do, which is like fill up the plate or bowl or whatever it is to the top, because as much as I could get into it to go to the table, then I won't eat it. If I just fill it up like a lower amount, then I'll likely eat that and be like, I'm good. I don't know. I don't need to, you know what I mean? And then I won't go any further. So it's just a brain, but if it's there, I'll eat the whole thing because it's just like I don't know, like I was born in the 40s during scarcity or something. No. I just eat it all because I feel like I have to.
Me and Abby talk about this because we have the same thing around food where, and me and Michelle, is something that we've learned in our relationship. We're like, there's nothing she can do that communicates that she loves me more than like surprising me with a snack or some food. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then similarly with myself, it is the highest reward that I can give myself. I love food. I love to eat. I love to think about what the next meal is. I fall asleep thinking about what the next meal is. You know what I mean? Like with my last 2 brain cells. There's something about scarcity mindset. But I love the idea of, I like setting a plate. But for Michelle, I wouldn't do it for myself. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I think I just got to get the trays and try it and see what it does for me. But
do it, and if it checks out, I'll do the same.
Yeah,
we saw that brand that we might reach out to that did some of those. So anyway, also real quick before we continue, on top of the Neurofuzzy, this did not make my list because I made some good cops this year. We also got a Breville juicer. Now I texted you yesterday because I wanted to know about the immunity thing. If anybody out there is listening and you've got juice quote unquote recipes, what I'm looking for is a very severe yet nutritious juice shot and or short juice that I can make for myself regularly.
Say, here's the other thing that you can do that I didn't mention. I don't know if I put it into that one because I might have just not had it on hand. But if you just do the ginger, the whole lime, the lemon.
Do you do the lime skin as well, or lemon skin as well?
I do the whole thing, dude. I'm never
lime
with a juicer,
and lemon.
I'm kind of hoping to get a little bit of it in. I know it takes most of it off, or I don't know if yours does, but it takes most of the rind. I'm sure it does. You put it through, and it filters all that out. That would be wild if it didn't. I feel like all juicers do that.
It might. I don't know.
If you put the whole thing in, it spits 90% of that shit out. I don't know how it knows to do that, but it knows how to do it.
I did the whole lime, and I thought it was fucking great.
But I like a little bit of the rind and stuff in it. To be honest. Me too. It's not bad for you.
No.
And then if you put a little cayenne and a little turmeric in at the end too, that'll really.
You're doing turmeric powder, or you got the root?
I would prefer to do the root, but you don't see it all the time. So I keep the powder on deck.
Yeah.
Because I usually do like a tea morning or night that's like turmeric, cinnamon, and ginger.
Oh, cool. Let's go.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's really good for like,
so to speak.
Yeah, that's why I'm doing it. That and like I'm always worried about inflammation. My biggest concern is getting older is like being sore all the time. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So
here's the thing. There's a documentary on Netflix that I've been really interested in watching, and then please let's get into these lists because I know that I keep stopping them up. But in regards to inflammation, it's a documentary. You know how DG. He's fed us nuggets of health information through the years, through his thousands of things that he knows about. He might have been
the one that led us down this trail, to be honest.
100%. Of just like, I don't know, my man reads books, and I just love him. So I'm going to listen to him, you know what I mean? But he had said something a long time ago, and then I experienced it independent from him, where at my old house especially, and we do it here too, but I learned at the old house, where we'd get up in the morning, and especially when we first had our garden, walk out. First thing we do was walk out our front door barefoot and stand at the garden, water the garden, this and that. And I felt like there's something to having your bare feet in the grass, on your sidewalk, whatever.
But you don't have to talk to me, but you act like you're the hippie one between the two of us. But I walk from my house to the park barefoot, which is like two blocks at least, and then walk around the thing. And I'll do that like when it's summer, when it's nice out. I'll do that like most days.
Yeah,
just because it's an easy way, or at least I'll take like Birkenstocks over there and then whip them off at the and then walk.
Oh, I love being barefoot outside. I'm completely in agreement. But what I'm going to say is this: on Amazon, there's a documentary. I think it's like you can rent it for like $2.99 or something. We haven't rented it yet, but I've passed it many a time. And it's about this phenomena, if you will call it that, or this concept. And basically, again, I'm going to butcher it because I'm a dumbass. But what they're documenting and arguing is that doing that alone, having your skin touch the earth, grounding, I think is what it might be called, like grounded or something like the doc's called. It shows before and after of people with, some sort. Inflammation is like the root of everything, is what they're arguing. Like all your health issues can be remedied if you can decrease inflammation within reason.
I'd argue that like genetically, you've got certain things
there's things that obviously you touching grass with your feet isn't going to help things that you're predisposed to genetically, but it can help in a lot of ways. Sure. Point being, this documentary, what they're arguing through watching the trailer many times, is that this grounding thing really works, and it reduces inflammation in ways that other things cannot, other medications or other practices or whatever cannot. Anyway, one of us should watch that. I'm just gonna rent it and we'll talk about it. But I'm all about it, dude. I'm all about it. I've been
doing the tapping to like lymphatic drain.
No, that's cool.
Get into that.
Like gua sha for the body, huh?
Yeah, kind of just smacking yourself around. Yeah. More or less. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm all about that
because it's supposed to it gets rid of old cell waste and stuff.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I don't know if any of this is true, but here's the one thing I'll notice: like, sun makes a massive difference to me. Like if it's like too long now without sun, like even like a couple days anymore. Like we grew up in the Midwest where it's like always that way, but it's like here it's like you get it most of the time. And now when I don't have it for a couple days, I actively notice it. I hate the winters exclusively because I just feel like I get less sun and less fresh air because you can't keep the windows open all the time, even though I still try to at least once a week like air out the apartment, like all windows open for as long as we can handle it, and then reheat the house. I don't care. I know it's not great, but I just feel like it's healthy to get whatever junk out of there.
I agree.
And even on days like when, like on Sundays, like you guys do the football thing, and I usually just hang around the house, which is like I've also found that like alone time for me is like incredibly like healing.
Own it, bro. Yeah.
Like if I can just spend a few hours just not having to talk, not having to think really about anything in particular, chilling. And just like, but I also don't watch movies, play video games. I don't do anything I try to not do any screen time during that time. Like just try to like be completely off for a little while. If I do that mixed with I need to get out of the house and like take a walk, if I get the fresh air, that is an infinite like fixes things for me. But it's like I don't know any of this. I don't know if there's any like if you start to notice this stuff, it's kind of like therapy. If you start going into therapy, you start noticing patterns, and that's like the first step is like you just notice the pattern, and then you have to go, okay, well, what are some ways I can fix that thing? Like I know what this is now, I can recognize it. It's the same thing. It's like now I notice certain things with myself that maybe before I was just ignoring or being like, oh, I feel like shit for the past couple of weeks. It's like, but you weren't doing anything about it. Now it's like I've got these things where like I know this fixes that or this kicks out the cobwebs. Yeah, so I think it's like if something you just start being mindful of, regardless of if worrying about if it works or if it's an actual. I don't fucking know, but I know the things that make me feel better, and I just kind of do those.
There's infinite value to that, and there's also value to placebo. If you do a thing with the belief that it's going to result in X, I just think the universe would tell you there's a higher percentage that it will just because you believe in that. I don't. Take that as you will, but I think it's true. You know what I mean?
It's a little
like
bit of that manifestation shit.
Yeah, it's just like
true,
that,
dude. That's the game I tell you guys I play with because I'd love to be able to do this in my bigger life, but this is hard for me. But it's the same reason I'm able to find what we call purples around here. That means that we can't locate something or it's in a different location than it is, so we mark it in the ship station so we can go look for it.
It's technically second eyes.
And if if they mark it and they can't find it, I'm always able to. And I swear to God, it's just this thing that somebody told me one time. It was just you just have to 100% believe it's there and look as if you believe that it's there. And if you just put your reminder. We have it. I just don't know where it's at. I find it every single time.
Yeah.
It's like
He's
just
not
a
lying.
thing where if you just like are convinced it's there, I swear to God, it changes it somehow.
It's been years of, at the store especially, me and Cooper be like, Brondo, dude, I don't know. We can't find this jacket. Somebody must have stolen it, or there was an inventory mistake or something. And it was almost like clockwork. He'd come back, take 2-3 paces, look, reach, grab, and there it is. Like you would just pull it out of thin air. And
it's
it
like
was
that,
really
and getting
remarkable.
cats to like me is my 2 superpowers.
Well,
That's
yeah,
all I was given.
You
for whatever reason.
even made friends with that Bengal-looking cat in your neighborhood. Remember? You called me and said you found this.
Oh yeah. It followed
Not
me
Bengal, but you know
it was definitely something
like
I don't know what it was.
like not a regular house
Any
cat.
cat that enters our house
Yeah.
is eventually my cat. The new one, Juno, is like
Your
was
cat.
with me all day yesterday.
Yeah.
Sleeps under the covers with me.
Sick.
Yeah.
That's so sick.
I can call it. It comes from wherever.
Hey, in terms of doing things better, I'm not young, so my hair is not as thick as it used to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've noticed feeling in areas like it's not like gone, but like definitely becoming thinner. And so I was talking to Miss Shannon about it, and she goes, "Well, you know what? Your scalp looks a little irritated in areas that you're saying
Yeah.
like it feels thin."
Well, I've said this before, dude. Like, I don't care if you want to wear a hat all the time. That's your thing. But like, it's not healthy for your hair.
Well, it's not
You know what
healthy
I'm
for the
saying?
hair,
Like,
but also I wash. This is where I'm happy to eat crow. I would be braggadocious about never washing my hair, this, that, and the other. And I still don't think you should be putting chemical. Long story short,
But buddy, there's plenty of versions of. We're not. This isn't 1970. You can go get natural, very natural,
Well,
like
that's
single
what I'm
ingredient
on.
type.
Yeah.
Of, like maybe not single, but close to like shampoo and conditioner.
What I started
no issue.
doing-
and you need to condition too, because I think that's the other thing.
that's
Your
what
shit
I've been
gets
doing.
really dry.
I've been conditioning,
Yeah.
so I think it's good for both
You should get
my
some scalp
hair
oil
and
too.
And also, what I've been doing is doing rosemary mint oil treatments. Put it in my hair. I did one on Sunday or something. Put it in my hair, let it sit for like 2 hours, and then wash it out. Bro,
You can also
my hair was luscious,
if
curly
you do
again.
like avocado, honey. I think mayonnaise is the weird one that always grossed me out, but you can put a little bit of that in there.
I
It's
get
some
it.
kind of
It makes sense.
And it's a couple other things you put in there, and you leave that in your hair with like something over the top for a little while. Like when I had long hair, I used to do it like I have curly, like coarse hair, so I have to like do it more regularly too. I would do that like once a month, and I didn't like it because it grossed me out a little bit, but because it just is weird, you know. And it's the mayo really for me was the issue.
I was gonna say I'm gonna do it without the mayo.
But it made a massive difference towards like how you're like, you know, because especially when your hair's long, your hair's like itchy more often.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It would course correct that. It made it look much nicer, shinier. And you just gotta like take care of these things.
That's all I'm
Yeah.
doing is I'm trying to be less in my dumb I know everything ways, and I'm open to the experiences. I'm open to trying the things. So I started with that. I will say my hair feels way nicer, not as brittle and frizzy. This, that, and the other.
Well, that's like the conditioning aspect of it.
Exactly.
That's what fixes it. Yeah.
But I can't tell you how much I liked the oil. It felt good, whether it was placebo or not. It felt good on my scalp. Like my scalp was like eating up
Well, it's
the
skin.
moisture.
I mean, you know what it feels.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm eating crow and saying I am going to start washing my hair a little bit more. I'm growing it back out for winter too. I'm kind of want a long boy again with me turning a page on my hair.
You also, the other thing that you need to do is you need to grow it for a certain amount of time, then go somewhere. You need to not go to a barber. God bless every barber that exists with tattoos. They're great guys, you know, and they're all former hardcore kids, so we love you. We need you. But not everyone needs a high and tight either. You know what I mean? And like feel like that's what you got to go to like a
Well, I'm
salon.
growing it out from a pretty tight haircut. You know
Well,
what
that's
I'm
the problem.
saying?
If you
So
got
it's-
short hair and it's growing all at weird,
Yeah.
so you need to grow it out for a little while and then go to a salon and say, I'm growing it out. I just need it trimmed for that reason.
Yeah.
And they're just going to trim it so it'll keep growing properly. Then you keep doing your shit and you'd have nice long hair.
Yeah. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm trying to do a little 1-2s, just be more healthy in general and be less rigid in my ways. So doing that.
I would like to see you next year start with doing, because I'm 2 for 2. Well, we lost you.
Yeah.
What is going on with your thing today? There you go.
I don't know. It's being really finicky.
As I'm 2 for 2, I feel like I'll have to keep working on you. But the next thing is just like do a couple things that are outside of your comfort zone that might help. You know what I mean? Whether it's like little working out here and there, whatever your version of it is, but you're going to have to like, you have to just be uncomfortable for you know what I mean? I'm when I go do things, I'm not comfortable for it. You know, I'm very similar to you.
Yeah.
It's just, I just force myself outside.
You'll
and
just-
sometimes
you'll
you
just,
do them
like,
and you're
do
like,
the thing.
this still isn't for me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that's fine. But like, if there are things that are going to better you, then, you know, if you're in the hole all the time, then you're not going to get, you know.
Totally. So that's where I'm at, Brondo.
Great. We got it. It's like we're doing an episode about what are those called? You know, you do them at the end of the year.
Resolutions.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I don't believe in that shit because I think it's here I go.
No. I think it's think of it this way, dude. It's like setting an intention.
I think
that's a good
I'm down
thing to do.
for it to just be something that I'm trying to be better at. I don't like calling it a
you don't need to
resolution
talk-
because then it feels
I know,
It
but
feels
you
like something
talking,
you're setting
I guess
yourself up
because
to
we're
fail,
talking to a
you know
bunch
what I
of
mean?
people, you know, then I don't think about that. But if you're just talking to me, it's like it's nice to tell somebody else that you're working on something because you have like a support system.
and you will.
And I think the
talk to me
mistake
about
people make, it's like when you're trying to like quit smoking and shit. It's like you're gonna fuck up like a bunch of times before you got it. You know what I mean? Like that's just the reality. And I think that there's just this like assumption that like if you say you said you were gonna quit and then you like had a couple last weekend, it's like, well, you don't need to throw everything out now.
It's not all moot because
you
you didn't do
smoked
the
a couple
thing,
cigarettes now. Just keep stopping, and then eventually it'll be none. You know what I mean? And that's great. Yeah, so I think it's like I get that version of it, but I don't know. I think there is something nice about setting like a general intent. It's kind of like what we do with work. Was we always have this like I try to come up with some general guideline of like this is like the overarching, much bigger picture. But like, are we running all decisions like through that? Like, is
That's
that
like
is
the
it
North
putting
Star.
us towards? Yeah.
Sure,
so it's nice
sure.
to have that. So if it's either just being more open minded, trying new things, rethinking old things that you've said or done before, maybe like those things can be big, and you just kind of keep putting things through that filter. I think that's good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're 36 minutes in and haven't
Well,
even
fuck it.
begun
Let's get
our
it, baby. Yeah.
thing. So
It's all good because technically this is correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first week that we're doing one podcast.
Yeah, so we've said this
give a
before.
quick
We're gonna
rundown.
have like a harder like reset on this. We're hoping. I think we mentioned in the last episode that we're gonna make some concerted efforts. Number one, to make the podcast sound better, but also to make it come out at the same time every single week because we've gotten really inconsistent. And I know nobody likes that. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like that for us either. And you know, we started out doing 2, but we were less busy. We had less staff. We were just able to like kind of make that happen
This
a little
was,
bit more
what,
often.
2 years
And,
ago,
like,
dude?
Yeah, and like quite frankly, yes, in the summer or something, we can make that happen, no problem. And as far as you and I talking goes, it's really no
not an
issue,
issue,
you know.
yeah.
But I think that the issue has now become doing that plus Patreon episode plus everything else and trying to make the store better and do better is just not working. And also, like, we're only doing 50-minute episodes, or we were. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch it to doing 1 episode a week. The goal right now, this could change. It's a little bit of a moving target. We're really focused on this being like proper by January, but starting to like move into this now. Is
Forming
that
habits.
it comes out early in the morning on Thursdays. Every single week, no ifs, ands, or
Ready
buts.
for your commute.
We're still going to try to do 2 guests. Now listen, guests flake and move around and stuff, and that's a real pain. So, and we don't want to like people to not have episodes. So, you know, or if we just get really busy and it's hard to do all the reaching out and stuff, then that is what it is. And maybe we'll bring someone else in to help us out on that. But we're going to try to do 2 guests a month, 2 solos. The guests, all episodes, the goal now is for them to be like more like an hour and a half at least. You know, sometimes we go long, so we go long. And then so you're going to get a much more fully fledged podcast, a lot longer of a one, something that comes out consistently, same time every week.
Yeah.
We'll still do guests. We'll still do us doing our thing. And hopefully they're going to be a little bit more structured too. Because like some of them too, because we're throwing 2 together, we're getting pretty like just us bullshitting, which I know people like.
We're not gonna.
Yeah,
we're never gonna not bullshit. It was just
but
sometimes it felt like
we don't really have
truly
anything.
directionless bullshitting just to take up time. Which
We can do it.
we
but
can
it's
do
just,
it, no problem. But we just want to be a little better about
And
it.
I think that what we'll also do is, you know, if we do end up with some extra time when things are a little bit slower, we'll just bank some baby fun goofing around ones that we'll throw into Patreon. So Patreon, you'll probably get even more because we know that we fell behind in the back half of this year too.
Yeah.
So
So I think it's good.
yeah. Yeah, Patreon will have more specifics. Like they'll be more like specifically like different, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
in a way. And then
Themed in some way, yeah.
everything else is just going to get tightened up to have a little bit more of a structure.
Yeah,
and
and you know, I really like Brondo. I really like when there's podcasts. You know, it's the same 6 that you listen to plus you listen to more. I like my radio rentals and things that are 35, 37 minutes because those are a commute time more or less. Or if long story short, they're one and done. They're done quickly. But I really love when I look down and see an episode of an interview with somebody or just the whatever the format is, that's an hour and a half, 2 hours long. Because I could break that up over a couple of days and it's like a long story you keep coming back to. I like that. Not to try to sell the concept to people, but I personally like to consume podcasts that way too. So cool.
So we're going to do that.
All right. Well, we're going to hop into our
plan.
top 3.
There's going to be some changes with podcasts, but just for right now, we're going to move to once a week, Thursdays, first thing in the morning. You'll be able to count on that, and then we're going to institute more changes as we go. But we're trying to make it we're trying to make it overall better and more consistent. So that's really the
not
goal
overproduced or anything. It's not going to be an NPR type situation.
Though we will maybe get our new guy to spend a little bit more because I edit it and run it through a thing. I still think we sound pretty good compared to some podcasts, but it could be better if I just spent more time.
Well, that's what he does too, and he's stoked on it. So
yeah. So we're going to clean it up in a few different departments. All right, but let's get into it because this one's probably going to be a 2-hour one.
Top threes.
Top threes of the years. We did this last year. People really liked it, so we are coming back. Some new ones, some familiar favorites. I think we should just get into it. So these are just like our favorite things from the year in a couple different departments, and we're going to talk about them. Where do you want to start? Why don't you lead the way here a little bit?
Let's start with YouTube / etc. This was a we're going to start with kind of like the more obscure
weird ones
or
first? Okay.
And then we can get into the more obvious ones. But like I only have 2 channels that I found
so
this
you're
year.
suggesting channels,
videos, concepts, whatever. It could be a video too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
While I love Mr. Ballin still, you know what? Good on him.
Yeah, he's doing it. Yeah.
Because he has like a whole like production company now with podcasts under him. So I just want to say I was watching him with his greasy ass backwards hat hair, telling stories. Early pandemic packing orders. You know what I mean?
I can't help that when I watch those videos of imagining the setup that he's doing, because he's just in front of like a green screen.
He's got something behind him. Yeah,
it's funny.
But shout out him. He's obviously putting in time. So this didn't make the list, but he's not new. Very important people made my list of YouTubes. We had Vic on the pod.
Yeah.
You
got to check out the new ones. The new ones are so good.
I've seen a couple of the clips. But I haven't taken the time to like watch them intentionally.
I'm so glad we got to talk to her when we did because I think she's going to be a fucking star,
100%,
dude.
100%.
It's too good.
You know what? So much of our community came out of the woodwork like, holy shit, Vic Michaela's hot. You know what I mean? And so it seems that way, that she's...
Yeah,
you know, so good for her. So very important people. The bit that did it for me, and I said it on the thing.
I don't have this on my thing, but actually, let me just quickly... Oh my God, Catherine McCafferty has I think it's on YouTube and it might be on Patreon, and it's called, I'm gonna mess it up. It's called like Very Gay or something like that, and she basically does these like it's like a dating show almost, and she does one with Vic that is her improv skills are unreal. Unreal the way she's able to flip things around and do things so quickly and so sincerely. It is such a funny episode. Honestly, that whole series is so funny. In fact, I'll look it up right now because I want to call her out. We should see if she'd come on.
Yeah.
It'd be a wild mix of vibes for her. But it is very funny. It is called Pretty Gay. Pretty Gay. It is on Patreon. You can watch the clips and stuff on Instagram. But oh my God, they are so funny. She is very good.
Okay, well, I want to watch some of those, and I need to get caught up on very important people.
Yeah.
Because obviously I love the bit. I love the bit where finds the $100,000 in the park. What'd you do with the $100,000? Took it and invested it. Turned it into $16,000.
So
that
good.
I can't explain to you why it's so funny to me, but the delivery.
The one where she interviews. It's like a 8th grader who got 3 wishes, and one of them was to become rocks. The other one was for his brother to come home from the army.
Yeah.
There's another bit in it that I don't want to spoil. That's what happens to the genie after he does the wishes. That is equally as funny to that. Like where it broke everyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's so good. Those are so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real quick in regards to this format, do you want me to name all three, then you name all three?
Yeah.
Okay. So I said very important people. My only other one that I have to add, which I have to add, I just sent it over to Mishan, and the guy showed me this, Jaunty. Jaunty showed me this initially, and then it caught some traction, and I've watched a handful of videos since. It is Jacob fucking Jones. It is that incredibly interesting fella who, and let me rattle off a couple of titles from his YouTube channel, just so everybody knows I'm not exaggerating. It is a fella who does very, to be plain, he goes places and smokes cigarettes and or drinks. And so I'm going to name a couple of...
Day drinking in the park while smoking 360.
Smoking a cigarette while driving my 1980s diesel Mercedes.
Sick.
Smoking a McDonald original cigarette review. No way. Smoking a cigarette in a Medicaid reserved parking space to prevent people from getting medical aid. and then to wrap it up, day drinking and smoking cigarettes in a public park at 4 p.m. uncut. So this is what it is. And he's just talking at the camera, and he's a very interesting fella. And I'm not throwing shade. I think he's a character, and I wonder how much he understands exactly what it is he's doing, because he has repeating themes where he says, yes sir, you know what I'm saying, and it's like it's kind of like you, one click off from me.
It's very similar.
But
to you. If
anyway,
you have like a mental breakdown and start doing YouTube, it feels
this
right
is
there.
This is me if I lost everything that I had.
Might be good.
And so anyway, I love Jacob fucking Jones, and this looks like he's a CS player. He plays CS. That makes
perfect
sense. So
sense.
it does make perfect sense.
You know, if you would have given me a go at like thinking of things about him, that would have been on.
He plays
there.
CS still, yeah.
On
his
the
OG.
original one, or he plays like 1.5.
Yeah.
He doesn't like the shields though.
There's also I'm scrolling through. He must have went on a road trip, smoking a cigarette in Pennsylvania, smoking a cigarette in West Virginia, smoking a cigarette in Virginia.
Wow.
And he's just a character. So if you've got this is perfect for if I listen to it, I have it just while I'm packing orders.
Yeah.
Or if you've got menial tasks, you're working on
it's
sewing
weird.
projects.
It's gonna be one of these things where it clicks for you or it doesn't, but it is a thing. Yeah.
I love it, Timothy. I don't know what it is. It's just one of the new things about the internet that I really like, where I like this lane. So it's not exactly 1-to-1 of your review, bra, back with another food review. Yeah. It's similar though.
Yeah.
In that I'm just down to take it in for what it is, man. You know what I mean? He's not changing my opinion on anything. I just like the guy, and I'm just down to listen.
It's kind of like the reason Vine was so good is because it was so raw and pure. You know what I mean? That like it couldn't. It's kind of like MySpace. Is like there was just no way to taint it because they didn't allow it. TikTok feels tainted. Instagram is deeply tainted. Facebook is cursed.
Well, it's all become more than what it is. And this is the problem with these things. Now, this is where I am going to dig my heels into the sand and say, like, everybody should get off fucking social media. You'd be a happier person. The world would be happier if we didn't have Instagram, because at this point, it's not a place to share photos. It is part of corporate America made to change your mind and get you to buy more things. That's what it is. So it's good for us. Thank you for following the Canoe Club Instagram. But tainted would be a good word for it. It's not what it was,
like I've
dude.
said a million times, I think if you just do it the right way, don't follow old friends you don't like anymore. If there's somebody on there that's like annoying to you, just unfollow them. No one even knows. You think they're checking their followers every single day? Do you know how many people I don't follow? Do you know what I mean? That like follow me. I don't care.
You know how many people take that really fucking seriously,
well,
though?
Too bad. That's on them. That's not on me. I don't take
agree.
it seriously. I'll still dap you up in the streets, but I'm not trying to fucking like look at your dumb house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. So it's if you just don't do that, you only follow the handful of people you might want to actually comment on. And quite frankly, that's, as far as people I actually know, it's very few. It's like, you know, the grandfather didn't because they're like old homies or family.
Yeah.
The rest of it's just like stuff I like. And then I actively go in and unfollow probably 50 people once every couple months. like it's like, oh, I don't really follow this person anymore. I don't really care about this, or I'm not on this anymore. Like I only follow like even guitar pedals and shit. Should I like? I only do like a few of them at a time. Like I'm following these ones right now. If you're really intentional with the way that you use it and curate your feed, it's a fun way to kill some time.
Sure.
But I also understand, I agree with you in a lot of ways, especially the ways I think most people use it. It's very toxic. You know what I mean? And especially like if you're someone
People
who's
think their
comparing yourself to
Instagram-
people a lot, things like this. I also, just to be clear, am signed out of my Instagram 90% of the time. I sign in and intentionally like, I'm trying to kill an hour because I'm bored and this is like a nice way to like turn off your brain. It's fine to turn off your brain. I don't know why we don't demonize that. You can turn off your brain. What's the difference between that and TV, video games, whatever thing?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Who cares?
It's when you think your Instagram personality is you.
Yeah,
that's not
there's
true.
no reason to, Just use it as like a little curated news feed. If you use it like that, you're fine.
Sure.
But
I'm fine if people want to do that. But I stand by it. And also I consume YouTube and shit. So fucking whatever. I'm an idiot. I'm being hyperbolic.
Everyone should do whatever they want. Just I think you just like we always say, just do it in moderation. Just sign in, sign out. Don't follow people you don't give a shit about. You know what I mean? Especially like if you're gonna compare yourself to people you don't care about. It's like I don't want to be like that person. Why the fuck do I care? Why do I care why they have? Why did they?
I wouldn't trade my life
car?
for theirs.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, hit me with your YouTube finds.
Okay, I'm gonna go through a lot of mine fast because I didn't curate mine well. In that I have like 5 for everything. Number 1, I thought we did 5, so I put 5, and then I realized I have to, and I was like, I'll just go through them quick.
That's all good.
Okay, random videos. This band I really like that I've showed you, produced by Will from Hotline TNT.
Yes.
Ram. I do think maybe it'll be on Spotify because I think it comes out this week. It's an EP. There's only 2 songs out right now, but they're on YouTube only currently. They might only be YouTube only, or you can go to I think it's Assin' Up, which is his website, and pre-order the EP, the physical. But Ram ain't that bad. Either of the songs are really good, but I think it's my favorite song of the year, and I can't put it on anywhere else because it's only a song. We didn't do songs.
I completely forgot you played that for us
so
when we were packing
fucking
noise.
good.
It's so good.
It rips. It also has an amazing comments section. I don't know why, but all the comments are funny. But the one that says the song got me honking like a goose really got me. So shout out for that for a couple reasons. I'll do the music one first. I also KEXP had Slow Pulp on. I don't know if this was this year or not, but they did. I think so because the record came out this year, and they do the song Broadview. Which is one of the best songs on the new record. And they are so good live. Like it's a band where I both appreciate their recorded versions, but like their live versions as much, if not almost like a different thing. Because I listen to most of their live stuff like regularly, and I listen to the albums regularly as like separate things. This song in particular, like the way they have it mixed and the way that he's doing the like slide guitar live really fucking hits.
Sick.
So but definitely check that out. This is an old video, but I think that I don't know if I've ever talked about him on here, but I think that like Blake Babies is probably the best indie band of all time. This is I don't know, they operated like early 90s, I believe. I just think it's the best, especially like the early versions of them, and this is one of the early versions of their lineup. And I just love their old records, and I love their songs. They're so catchy, but they're so like old indie, like that college rock indie. Yeah. And there's a old South by Southwest. I think it's called like South by Southwest 01 Sanctify and Out There. It's 2 songs of theirs. It's off the B side of that record. Sanctify and Out There go in a row. And both of them are good, but the version of Out There is so good. It's kind of a crappy recording, but in the best way. You should check it out. If you've never heard of them, you should check it out. And if you love them, you should really check it out if you've never seen it. That video came out like 13 years ago. I've just listened to it a lot lately. Not music related is from the John Mulaney show, the live in LA or
Everybody's in LA.
The Oh Hello Mansion tours.
Oh yeah.
Manson tours because they mistake it is one of my favorite. I've watched that video so many times because it's just one of those. I love those old videos of theirs, but like this one really, they don't miss a beat. They're just. It's funny that like you could go that many years doing this weird character.
They're just dialed, dude,
and it's just like they can turn it on instantly, and it's so funny. Especially if you like old LA stuff. Yeah. It's just deep, weird LA lore and Manson lore that if you're into that stuff, it's also going to hit for you.
Sick.
And then this completely separate, but Open Space series, which is just these guys who do really, really, really beautiful videos of different architecture. Some of it being really famous, some of it being like residential, but built by famous architects. super drippy, beautiful shots, great music. And then they interview the current owner and if they can, like the builder and stuff like that. And they are absolutely incredible. They just released one on falling water, which is a pretty big deal because they don't do a lot of stuff for that, videos and all that. It's beautifully done. It's done by people who legitimately really give a shit about not only like video work and cinematography, but also architecture
and space.
And it's the best. And I, for some reason, have always felt this way, but architecture, like, especially like I went to some Frank Lloyd Wrights when I was younger, and it really like, that's the type of art I most appreciate. Because I so deeply don't connect with how it's done at all. I don't know how you draw it. I don't know how you think about it. I don't know how you put it together. And there's so many fucking elements to making that a thing. Because it's not just making abstract art; it's making something that people have to be able to function. It needs to work on so many different weird levels with nature, with humans. It feels like the most deeply connected art that exists. And Falling Water to me is one of the most beautiful pieces of art that I think I've ever experienced. Or not, I haven't been. It's like that and going to see SNL are like on my bucket list. But it's a beautiful one that they just did on Falling Water. But honestly, go back to the beginning. It's always been great, and it's also really nice to hear about the people that live in it and how they like use the space, and it's really interesting. I love it as a series. It's also like a nice thing to put on as like a brain smoother. You know what I'm talking about? So,
yeah, totally. I'm looking at photos,
and I can't think of. I'll link this, but because I said I would earlier, but I also love those videos of that guy who just really slowly walks around Japan.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Big into
about
like
those.
those type of
I'm
videos,
interested in
like
that.
kind of ambient videos. So those are my YouTube videos.
Let me ask you a question. And I'm asking because I am this way. I've never been a window shopper. I don't like to pine over things that I can't ever reasonably acquire. And so I find myself avoiding something like architecture videos or looking at houses and this and that. It's because it hurts my heart to know I'll never own that, or I will never get to experience what it's like to live in this house
at your age. But I also think that like no one's gonna own Falling Water, dog. You know what I mean? It's like no one's gonna own a Picasso. There's very few people who own that piece of. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like that is a very rare thing. It exists as art, and it's nice to appreciate art because it like you can take things away from it. You know what I mean? Whether it's your own inspiration for completely separate things, or it just makes you feel good.
Yeah,
or, or it makes you feel bad. I mean, in some cases, I think that like I'd never, for a long time, I would go, especially in Chicago, I'd go to the art museums and stuff because it's something you did. You know what I mean? And it's fun, and it's especially like
I like going to museums for the record. I think it's fun. I think it's. I think that
you got to look at it that way. It's not about owning something. It's not about. It has nothing to do with ownership. Ownership is completely irrelevant. You know
Does somebody live in Falling Water? You think?
I don't. I think it's just kept as like more like a museum. Okay. Thing. I mean, I'm sure that there's a constant caretaker on it. Yeah. But I don't know if anyone actively.
Because I just looked at the photos.
There's certain Frank Lloyd Wrights that people do, and there's there's all sorts of other architects outside of that. But then the other thing that I think is really cool, Chase, is that as you learn a bit more about that and different types of architecture, especially I've been really interested in regional architecture. I'll send you. I know you don't like Instagram, but maybe if you want to pop on to look at this one guy who talks about Colorado architecture specifically, you start noticing things around you. And I think the more you take time noticing things around you, I think that I had to get better. I don't know anything about trees and plants and nature, but I've spent a lot of time now in it and thinking about and being a little bit more mindful of it. And I think that learning a bit about it, although it's never going to deeply interest me, I don't think, is nice to just, you notice things and appreciate things. Yeah. And then when you drive around, you see different architecture, you're like, hey, that's a this or that's a that. And you're like, that's really interesting that's just right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's really cool. And that's part of this region and this culture. And you don't even notice it otherwise. I think starting to notice things like that makes a huge difference. Or you start to like, see younger artists or whatever, and you go, hey, that's a lot like that. It's just nice to make all those connections. It's kind of like as you start to learn more about music, you appreciate more types of music. And I think that's why people that say that they like everything, I like all sorts of things. It's like, well, that could be a very general answer, or it could be a very honest answer. Like, I don't have a favorite. I think I have a genre I lean towards, but like, I don't have a favorite genre by any stretch. I think I can appreciate a lot of different things from a lot of different genres, and I just am picky within them.
It depends day to day.
But that's because I've spent basically my whole life researching it, you know. Yeah, and this is the same thing. It's just like an interesting thing to start like learning more about.
Yeah, no, I could dig that. that, and I can see taking inspiration. Like I was just looking. The floor is really cool. Like it's like a raw rock that has a wavy texture to it.
And if you start learning, especially like that's why I say start with the Falling Water one, because I think it's such a behemoth of a thing, and it's like such a artist at like such a fully realized state that like everything that he does well, which is inviting nature in. He's also very anti-open floor plan, so I know you and I will like him. He's very into there being very compartmentalized places, and there's infinite amounts of space where you're never not interacting with outdoors, but you're often basically creating
blocked off from the rest of the shit. Yeah, that's tight.
Then he designed all the furniture that went inside of it too, because he wanted everything should seamlessly work together. It's very like utility minded on top of it might be the engineered garments of architects, quite frankly.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sick,
it's
sick,
very
sick,
mindful of so many elements. It's really cool.
That's sick. Did I ever tell you about the time in college? There was like this older dude who was like a grad student that he was good at like hand lettering and everybody thought was cool, and he wore raw jeans, and I remember being like, oh yeah, he's cool, you know what I mean? One time we were at a party, I was about to graduate, or one semester off graduating, but that group of grad students were graduating, so it was a party at like the grad student VCD graphic design house, and I can remember him being like, what inspires you? And this is when I was like, I fucking hate this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he poo-pooed me saying that I like Frank Lloyd Wright. Because the reason my buddy's dad showed me, there's a Frank Lloyd Wright house in Madison on the Lake, Ohio.
Yeah. I mean, where we're from, there's a lot of them.
Yes.
It was very deeply in the Midwest in Pennsylvania.
35 minutes west of where I grew up.
Yeah.
And so that was the only architect that I knew, and he poo-pooed it. And I was just like, dude, you
Give me a
are
reason
such
why.
a fucking loser. And so that's when I decided that I hated the graphic design community more or less, of
It's
like,
also,
okay, you're also full of yourself.
It's also being like, you don't have to like actively like jazz or classic rock. You might be like, that's not a genre I love, but I can appreciate the things inside of it, and knowing that like it was just different at the time that they were doing. I mean, he was basically teaching a cult to design like him, to design mindfully like him. And because he didn't feel like that was the case, it was because it was being done mostly, it was becoming this, suburban sprawl where everything looked the same. And he didn't like that. So he was training up there's schools everywhere to teach them to not design that way.
Don't.
That's someone that doesn't exist that often. That's like Led Zeppelin. You don't have to actively like Led Zeppelin, but anyone who's like, I don't fuck with that shit, fuck off. Like what they did with the things that they applied, however they applied them, especially at the time, was a catalyst for everything that happened after. So if you don't like that, you're just being a dickhead. You know what I mean? Like that's fine. You can
I say I don't like old shit, but there's old shit I like too. So.
Well, you don't have to actively like it. You know what I mean? You don't have to be like, I want to live in a Frank Lloyd Wright, or I want to design like Frank Lloyd Wright, but appreciate what it did for everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like I actually don't love like old punk. Like if you go back before like early,
you don't like Crass?
DC, yeah, I don't like a lot of that straightforward. I don't even, to be honest with you, I wouldn't tell you that I love The Clash. I understand what it did, and I appreciate some of the songs. I'm all there for it.
Would I know the Clash songs?
I think you'd know, yeah. Okay. I'm not going to sing them to you, but
you know me. And
London Calling is an incredibly important record that without it all the stuff I like does not exist. Do you know what I mean? So you have to appreciate it, even if it's not something you go to all the time.
Yeah.
So when people like poo-poo that type of shit, it's like, all right, buddy. And especially like somebody in college is like, why don't you name your 5 other ones, dog? You know what I mean? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, get real, dude.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Well, this dude was a prick.
It's the same thing with like you talk about like classic designers, and you can be like, I don't like Karl Lagerfeld. I don't like, you're talking about what he designed. Not for me. Yeah. You know what I mean? But the way he did it, the thoughtfulness of the vision that he had for that brand, and the way he was able to take it from him being young all the way to his death, no one's ever done it like that.
Sure.
So you don't have to like it.
Who did Karl Lagerfeld design for?
Chanel, maybe most famously. Yeah. I mean, his own brand too, but I don't know if that's what he's most famous for.
What was his own brand?
Lagerfeld.
Oh.
Well, it's women, so you probably wouldn't. Chanel is the same way. It's hard to like. I think it's hard to appreciate Chanel sometimes because it's mostly women's, and it's so stuck in its way. But that's kind of like the point.
The point, yeah, sure.
I get why people. But again, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you liked Dree's clothing or not. You look at the way he went about designing and the way he was obsessed with nature and prints and design work and art, and how much of an artist he was beyond just putting clothes together. It's like the full vision that you have to care about. Like that's what I want to be like that person. It doesn't have anything to do with whether I want to own Drees or not. It's that I like people that create things in important ways.
See, it's interesting because like something that resonates with me was Coddle. I think when I learned about Coddle, we picked him up and I do want to own those things. It makes me want those things more.
Yeah.
I want more navy jackets.
But I would argue that like what Dries did in his time creating his own collection, also independently owned almost all the way till recently, like at least while he helmed it, is an incredible thing to do, number one. And then on top of it, he was obsessed with dyeing and obsessed with floral, like flowers and nature, and incorporating that into prints in ways that no one ever even thought of. I mean, that's like the same shit Cottle's doing. It's just... they're taking a different approach, different time period, different, like, you know what I mean, different background, but it's all the same stuff. At the end of the day.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I have.
We got to keep moving though, because we got to keep moving.
Move on. What's the next category you want to do?
You pick them. Just tell me what's next.
All right, we did YouTube. Let's do albums.
Okay.
Albums that came out this year.
Okay. You want to go, or you want me to go first?
I have 2, and then I have a song.
Great.
I will go. I have to mention it. I've listened through it a handful of times. Sentimentally, I love it. Rich Homie Quan posthumous record, Forever Going In.
It came out recently?
Yeah, last couple of weeks.
Yeah. I've listened to pieces. I have not listened to
Forever Going In. It's a photo of him with a crown on his head as a child. It's from the I Will Never Stop Going In. He had a whole series of records under that sort of theme. So the Rich Homie posthumous record I really like. I'm a big fan of Rich Homie Quan, as everybody knows. I really like that Lucky record, Gemini, all caps Gemini with like 1 or 2 exclamation points. Really, really well produced. I think it all sounds really nice and cohesive. I think it's probably like his most cohesive release since 2 or 3 releases ago. So I really like that Lucky record. And then the whole record itself didn't quite strike a chord for me, but I do believe the best song this year still remains as Love on the Outside by Wishy. I know we talked about it on the last pod. Given the whole record a playthrough and just letting it do its thing, I have yet to do that, but I would like to do that just to kind of give it its full opportunity. I gotta be
honest with you, man. It's like this entire year, as I was putting this together, I really noticed a similar theme for me, is that almost nothing that came out did I resonate with immediately. Like it took multiple times and then it clicked. You know what I mean? Almost all my records are that way. All my movies are that way, outside of maybe one. Like it took a couple times for me to go, oh, I get it now. And I don't know what it is, but I really felt that way with the Wishy record, although it didn't make my list. It could have, though, I think. It could have. Did you do yours?
What?
You got that was all yours?
Yeah. Rich Homie Quan, Gemini, and Love on the Outside.
So I'll do this one first just because I think it was literally on everyone's, and that's Manning Fireworks by MJ Lenderman.
Oh.
It's a perfect, fully realized, like it's him at his height of his powers.
I do really love it.
You know,
I do really love
just
it.
It's a solid record all the way through. I don't think there's anything you need to skip on it. It's just really good, and it's very him and uniquely him, and I don't think anyone could copy it. But it also still feels like Neil Young, and you know, it just feels classic at the same time. But our generation,
is the album cover? Is it him eating a sandwich at a table?
No, it's like 3 pictures. It's like a painting.
Oh. You know what? No, the him eating sandwich at a table, I think, is like the Spotify cover.
Yeah,
for
that
him.
might be. Yeah.
I think the guy's cool.
He's great. He's really he's awesome. So that has to be on there. This is a record that almost all these records. Well, no, I'll wait. I'll save 1 second. Dead Harry is a band I really like. Small band. They had a record called Blissless come out this year.
Cool.
That I just felt like it has this really interesting thing where it feels very shoegazy. It feels very like fuzzy and kind of hard to nail down whatever each thing is. But it's thick and warm,
cool.
And the whole record maintains this like flow that I think is hard for a full record of that kind of thing. I mean, like, I wouldn't even tell anyone that I think they should start with Loveless if they were like getting into shoegaze. I think that's everyone's like My Bloody Valentine, get into Loveless.
What record would you say? Is it this record?
That somebody should start with?
If you're trying to get into shoegaze, because I have one and people aren't gonna like it. But.
I mean, I don't. I think that mine would probably be Nowhere from Ride. I think would be who I'd start with, or if I could think of something, or if you're like a younger person, I actually think that starting with Hotline TNT might be a good place for you because it's very shoegaze adjacent, but you're going to get other influences mixed in there.
Yeah.
Like where My Bloody Valentines feels like direct to the vein. It's exactly, you know what I mean? It is the quintessential. I'm not going to
no
argue with
doubt,
that.
yeah.
That is
No,
the
it
one,
is,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
But I think it can also be a little bit of a difficult record if you're not like familiar with the genre, because it does feel almost like very one note until you know the things to listen for, or like what they were doing or how they went about it, or how influential it was at the time when it came out and stuff like that.
I can appreciate Loveless for what it is. It gives me a headache. It's too much for me, but I can appreciate it.
I think that it's also in how you listen to it. That is not a record for headphones, in my opinion. It's not. You're not meant to hear the details.
It's supposed to fill
you're
the
not meant
space.
I think it's best at a medium volume in a big space.
Yeah.
Because it's not. I don't think you're meant to pick out all the details and all that. It's supposed to feel like this big humming, breathing lung.
I mean I think that's a good. I would recommend.
This has that feeling though. That feeling I just described. It has that, but at a much more approachable level.
Yeah.
And I think that. And it still feels unique. Like it has really great hooks.
Where's the band from?
I actually don't know. I was going to look. That's what I went to look at just a second ago because I couldn't remember. But
while you look that up, I would recommend if anybody's keen to get into shoegaze, you've listened to this podcast long enough and haven't dipped your toe into shoegaze. They fell out of public favor, but Sway by the band Whirr, WHIRR.
Yeah, Whirr or Hum is another good one.
Hum's awesome. You'd prefer an astronaut, whether that's the name of the record or
Florida-based artist.
Huh. Yeah, you'd prefer an astronaut by Hum. It's the teal album cover with the zebra. Mm-hmm. I think it's dope.
Swerve Driver, really any Swerve Driver record's another good place that you could start. I'd say.
Cool.
But yeah, for me, it's I'd say Nowhere by Ride feels like it does all the stuff, but is also like, it's easy enough to get into.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably the one. Maybe Mojave 3. I mean, honestly, you actually know who's the way I got into is Smashing Pumpkins, especially early Smashing Pumpkins. It's
what's that record we have at the store we used to play?
Probably, I don't remember. Maybe Siamese Dream. I'm not sure which one we used to play all the time.
Coop used to play it.
Yeah, whatever hasn't. Yeah,
get in trouble for playing it too loud. Yeah.
Okay, the other two that I had to go back to a couple times now. Newest Howdy record, and I love Howdy. I think True Love is a perfect record. I think really all their records are basically perfect records. I like the evolution they've taken though so much, and I loved the singles. And when the album came out, it's a longer album. It's a pretty long album, and I just couldn't connect with it as a full thing. Maybe because it was long, and it was hard to get through all of it in one fell swoop. And then not too long ago, while I was I think when I was working on painting or doing stuff around the house, I had put it on and I have it on cassette and I listened to the whole thing a couple times in a row. So I was I want to listen to a couple of those songs again. And it just clicked. And it was this whole thing is good. This whole thing is good. And it has a really nice ebb and flow. Songs flow into each other. There's a lot of intros. There's a lot. You just have to digest it as one single thing. And I would love to interview these guys at some point. I know we've been trying. There's something about those records that especially... I say a lot of the times when I make music, the hard part is the lyrics. And it's because what does anybody care about someone my age? Do you know what I mean? Saying anything. You know what I mean? I think it's kind of embarrassing to be torn up by love in your middle 30s. You know what I'm saying? Totally. You're kind of over that. It doesn't feel as sincere. I love listening to songs like that. But it's hard it's hard to keep that up as you get older and it feel genuine.
Well, it's again, I'd love to have Mike Kinsella on the podcast.
Sure.
The stuff that I resonate with, twofold. It resonates with me because I heard it at a point in my life where that music made sense. He made it at a point in his life where that music makes sense. Owen shit and early American football.
Yeah.
As much as I can appreciate that they got the gang back together to do LP2 and whatever else for American football, and he's put out an Owen record or two lately, it doesn't have that same juvenile quality that I think is what makes all this shit so good. Title Fight Shed. If those dudes got together now, it's
no.
I don't know, dude. Some of them might have a mortgage and this and that. It doesn't
my
count.
Man is. I don't know if you've watched any interviews with him recently because he's been surfacing doing interviews lately. Ned.
Yeah.
And when he doesn't want to talk about Title Fight too much. He's over it. It was a thing. It will never happen again. It shouldn't happen again.
Let it fucking die, dude.
It's
just move
a perfect thing that exists
Yes.
at a perfect time and shouldn't be. Nothing should be different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
It's
they
just
could have not
perfect.
done Hyperview, but
You know what? I'll disagree with you. It's not my favorite. I don't think it's anybody. Man, I don't know. I
just think it's such a departure. The rest of it all lives in perfect unison, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It makes a perfect step of like, okay,
Yeah.
your literal children, 16, 17-year-old. I saw them, they were still in high school.
Yeah.
Came to Cleveland and played like a late early spring show. They were touring on Last Thing You Forget. Most of them were still in high school. So the steps make sense. It technically improves, recording improves. Even Floral Green is really dope. And then beyond that, it just loses me, which I understand. That's fine. It's not for me. But continue. But like Shed couldn't, if they put out Shed today, it wouldn't mean anything.
Look, everything that happened before Shed, like EPs, all little I'm not going to count those. Let's just call it Shed, Floral, let's call
Last
it the trilogy.
Thing You Forget, Shed, Floral Green.
Leave the first one out even though, I'm saying. I agree it's great. You know what I mean? But that is like them figuring it out.
What am I?
Shed is like a perfect record. It is a perfect record. It's a perfect hardcore record.
100% front to back.
Floral Green is an amazing follow up to that record. It feels a little bit more fully realized, like they're experimenting with guitar sound. All the stuff that made them so interesting in the first place is what kept them being interesting. Hyperview is like fucking Matrix Revolutions or Return of the King. It's nobody's fucking favorite. It's just it needs to exist in the space.
It does kind of cap it off.
Because it's like now they're really experimenting with guitar sound. And do you even count it as hardcore, or is it post-hardcore? What is it? It's like it's a hard thing to categorize, and it feels like this really big final thing of like this is where it was all leading. It just wasn't everyone's favorite because it's a departure, and the departure is hard because that first one is so iconic, and you can never match that energy. They're never going to match that energy. That energy can only come out of like fucking 15-year-old kids.
That's what I'm
saying.
saying.
So it's a perfect thing that just doesn't need to. We can't be on this too long.
It's all good. All good. You have more albums?
I do. Yep. Okay. Sorry, I had to read a thing really fast. My basically last one is Frog in Boiling Water by Dive. Always loved Dive. Again, if you're into shoegaze, I feel like this has come across your desk before. They're a great kind of nerdy guitar band, basically, is what I would say. That
gear people.
It's gear centric. They're very cool looking too. They're cool. That's a cool looking band. You know?
Hey, fit the part, dude.
Yeah.
Please.
But they put out this record, and it's hard because their records are all very different to me. They have like a cohesive sound, but they're very different, each one. And this one, when it came out, I would say I would have told you I don't think I like it. There's a couple songs, but I don't know. It wasn't for me. I couldn't tell you why. And then I saw, and I always say this is important, is you look up a couple live videos, because I happened to I had like music, I was watching some live videos on the TV, I had it on the background. And it just played this as like it was in the line of playlists. And it was the first song off the record, which I forget what that one's called. But it's the first song off the record. And watching them do it live and feeling like, because it does this, da-da-da-da, boom, boom, boom. And it does this really great hit at the beginning that's just so, I could never have written it myself because I just wouldn't have ever thought to do it. And it just connected with me. And I was like, oh man, I need to revisit that record. So I listened to the whole thing. And I was like, I just fucked up. I was just wrong. I just needed to like visualize this. Something didn't connect.
It changed the order.
Yeah, and now it's become one of my most listened to records this year. I think it's really great.
Hey.
Only other consolation I wanted to put on here is a record that I discovered this year, but it technically came out, I think, late 2023. It's I think the only other band that's on Phil Elvrum's. I don't know.
You know what? Actually, Timothy, there is some lore. I believe he started changing the spelling of his last name at some point in his life. But Phil Elvrum of the Microphones fame.
Yeah. I think it's the only other like artist that's on his record label that I could find. I mean, he's got a bunch of weird stuff that he's worked on. But anyway, it's the record's Hannah Stretton. That's her name, and it's called Soon. If you like the Microphones or you love kind of ambient music, it's kind of a nice pairing. Like there is vocals, but it definitely has a very like
Hannah. What is it?
Stretton. It's got a very ethereal sound, but very rooted, almost like if folk was ethereal.
Yeah.
It's ambient, but it's not ambient. It's more atmospheric, I would say. But if you're atmosphere, when I say atmosphere, it's more like Microphones atmosphere. It's very organic sounding. It's not a bunch of synths and stuff like that, if that's what you're thinking. So if that's the type of ambient stuff you like, it's not going to hit for you there, I don't think. But it is really grounded and smart, and It's just
Great.
really good. I
Yeah.
really like this record. I think it's fantastic all the way through. Bought it on vinyl because I just needed to own some version of it. Listen to that. Probably one of my most listened to records of this year, especially in the summer. So I want to recommend that one too.
Okay.
Even though it was technically
I'll give that a go. That sounds
yeah.
dope.
Yeah. And if he's, I figured if he was co-sponsoring, you'd be down.
100%.
All right. What's next?
All right, we've done albums. We've done YouTube. Let's do movies followed by shows, and then we can wrap up.
Yep.
The last couple are the heavier hitters. So let's do movies. I will go first in keeping with the order, without waxing too poetic about any of them because I'm not a cinephile, but I enjoyed them. Kinds of Kindness struck me in a way that it just really hit, man.
You got to watch some of his other stuff now.
I would love to. Maybe we'll watch. What's the
Poor
one?
Things is the famous one.
Poor Things. Yeah.
But that was like we talked about it before. But that was one that I did not want to see. I avoided it in theaters. I just thought it was not for me. Watched it and was like blown away. I thought it was amazing.
Dope. Well, then that's all the cosign I need. I thought Kinds of Kindness stuck with me. I think Emma Stone is dope as hell, and I like this weird. Did the Nathan For You show, or not Nathan Fielder show.
She makes great choices.
She's just, she's like cool as hell. Also considering I have a connection to her because she was in Superbad, which was like the coming of age movie for people my exact age. You know what I mean? So she's cool. I liked the Dune movie. I went and saw that in the theaters. I thought that was good. I like Dune. And then also, lastly, Longlegs. Another movie that kind of stuck with me. I like the vibe. I like the setting. I particularly like the outside shots of the house. It's like a house that I would like to live in, kind of. You know what I mean? And I like Nick Cage. I like that he's rising back to power, and people are recognizing that he is more than a meme.
Wait, which one did you just say? What movie was it?
Longlegs.
Longlegs. Yeah.
When he's doing that,
yeah.
There's a couple scenes where he starts singing. I can come back and it can be
T-Rex
nice,
song, yeah.
Crazy. I just think he's nuts. I think
Tonally, look, the writing, I think we talked about this whenever we talked about it. The writing could use a little work. It wasn't perfect. Wasn't a perfect movie writing wise. Atmospherically, tonally, cinematography. Like, I honestly think if they had just tightened up the storyline a little bit more, it would have made my top 5. I really, or at least a top 10. It's really, I just love the way it looked, and I love the way it felt. It was really smart. Then the marketing was brilliant on it. I think it's great, especially for a horror movie to feel that smart is also, interesting too. Because I think so often it's just, even when they're good, they're a little kitschy.
Yeah.
But I thought it was great.
Thought it was fun. I like the scene in the hardware store with the hands over his eyes. I just think he's so good at being this fucking terrifying.
They did so many smart
person.
things with the cinematography too. That the changing the angle of the house every time they're outside of it, just to make you feel off kilter. Such smart stuff.
Lots of I don't know what the term would be in cinema, but like negative space in the background. You're like, somebody's gonna walk in there.
Yeah,
but like it doesn't. It's just like tension. So I really liked it. But truthfully, Kinds of Kindness. What a fucking movie. So it had Willem Dafoe, Jesse Plemons is the guy's name, Emma Stone, and Margaret Qualley, who also, she's like having a moment, I feel.
Oh, she's been having a moment. She's been having a moment since even before. But
well, I mean, bro, I know her from The Leftovers, and I watched that in college with my buddy John. Shout out John if you're listening. And so she's been doing it for a minute. But Kinds of Kindness stuck with me. Emma Stone in the Hellcat, it never once being touched on, but she's driving a purple fucking loud ass Hellcat, and she drives it like she's Mark Martin. That's a old NASCAR reference for all the real Midwestern heads out there. Drives it like she's fucking Mark Martin in the number 6 Viagra car. He had the Viagra car for a period of time too. It was
the
Valvoline.
navy blue one, right? I'm picturing it. I don't know.
It was. Yeah, so he had the blue and white Viagra car, but he also had the Valvoline car, which is confusing. Yeah, I know him and love him as number 6 Mark Martin in the Valvoline, in the red, white, and blue car. But I also was familiar with him in the Viagra car too. I believe the Viagra car was the latter half of his career, or towards the end of his career. But the Valvoline car is unmatched. I had a Mark Martin bed set, so.
There's no way you haven't talked about that on here.
If I haven't talked about it, I got it at JCPenney's in Ashtabula, Ohio. I had matching sheets, duvet cover, and then also had trim vinyl laminate that went up along the perimeter of my ceiling. So Big Mark Martin fan. Wow. Anyway, her driving the Hellcat like she's Mark Martin was tight. Love that. So let's hear your movies because you are a movie guy.
Yeah, and I had kind of I don't think this was a banner year for movies. I think there were really good movies that came out, but it wasn't just like, it felt like there was a strong start and then kind of a light ending. So yeah, I'll go through them. This one was kind of tough, if I'm being honest with you. As I was trying to put my favorites in, there's a lot of movies I liked, but I struggled with what my favorites were that actually like released this year. Anora is number one with a bullet. I think that's going to be everyone's number one for the most part, and there's a really solid reason why. It's great movies. You know what I mean? It just does everything you want a movie to. It's just soul crushing, and it's funny, and it's weird, and it's kind of hectic, and it's, you know, a complete story. You know what I mean? And you really, really care about each character. Even the character acting type of people are really relatable and interesting, and it just feels so raw and real. Sean Baker is very good. He's been very good. If you like Anora, you should see Tangerine. You should see Florida Project. But it's just, you know, it's a director at the top of his game. I mean, it was such an interesting take on something that I've never seen before. And she is, Mikey's a star. I mean, she should be in everything going forward, and I think she will be. So, yeah, it's a killer movie. I'd say that's number one. I will float this, that maybe this was my number one over Anora, but I can't decide. It was Janet Planet. I think it's a complete opposite of Anora. So just because you like Anora doesn't mean you're going to like this. It's very slow. It's very atmospheric.
Oh, I like this actress.
She's great.
Whoever the main lady is.
Tell me what her name is. You got her right there? I'm always going to blank on it.
Is it Julianne Nicholson?
Yep, bingo.
Yeah, she's cool because she plays the wife in that Feely Jason Bateman show, The Outsider.
Oh, I didn't
That's
know
where I know her from. Yeah.
She should star in more things because she's just so good. But in this role specifically, she's amazing. I don't know the child actor's name in it, but she's also brilliant. I don't think there's really. It's like a movie where there's not much to say about it, other than like you'd have to see it and you'll tonally, I think, understand. But it's very much like a kind of a coming of age, or like, you know, a lot of the movies I liked this year were very like perception based, like a, you know, through the eyes of a child type of stuff, or like at least in this case. And the relationships the mom has and how it impacts the daughter. And it's very slow. It's very vibey. And it's really pretty at the same time. It's like shot in upstate New York, I believe. And I just loved it. It was really, I've watched it a few times since, and it just kind of kept hitting harder. So I really like that one. I really like this movie that's kind of, I'm going to put it in the same category, although it's different, called Good One. Kind of overlooked in my opinion. Not a lot of people seem to be mentioning it. I see it on an occasional list here and there, but again, there's not really any one thing this is about. It's like a daughter takes a camping trip with her dad and his best friend, and they hike around, and they have it's kind of like her view of adulthood almost through the eyes of these two guys.
Okay. Yep.
And there's things that happen, but that's all you really need to know. It's another slow paced, very atmospheric, very pretty movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say it looks nice. Looks very woodsy.
It just really resonated with me. I watched it twice, and I just liked it more having seen it twice. And then kind of going off the albums one, where I kind of gave it a soft review when we talked about it on the podcast the first time, but I saw the TV Glow. Really,
you would rank this, huh?
Yeah, you know, I didn't think I liked it that much at first. Not that I didn't like it. I didn't know what it was, and it has this element of goofiness that I think I put in front of everything else too much the first time. Not goofiness, but like teen angst that it kind of like leads with, and it's weird, and you have to like separate that element, which is like it's interesting, and but it's just I don't know. I watched it 2 more times after I saw it in theaters, and it kind of, the story resonated with me more that time. Of like the underpinnings of the story hit harder that time, and it's fun. And I think that sometimes I struggle with
fun movies.
It's not, just to be clear, it's not fun. It's tonally very depressing, but there's element of big cinema that I sometimes shy away from, put into it, almost like Goonies. You know what I mean? Or something like that, where it has this like very like child wonderment thing. And I had to get over like, this isn't supposed to be a teenage movie for adults. It's supposed to be, I don't know. I don't even know if that's true. I don't know. I don't know what my problem with it is, but after seeing it a couple more times, I watched it on a plane once and I watched it at home one more time. It just really, I just got it. You know what I mean? And I really think it's like, yeah.
Alex G did the soundtrack for this?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
A couple other great artists.
Because I liked, if it's the one I'm thinking of, I liked the tunes that, I listened to the
Yeah. It's great. I mean, the soundtrack's amazing.
Soundtrack, yeah.
It just, you know what I did is I started thinking, the second or third time I saw it, I was like, you know what this reminds me a lot of? It reminds me of a graphic novel. And then as soon as I like thought of it that way, it just made sense to me.
Interesting. Cool.
It's almost like that's how it was like storyboarded or something. It feels like a graphic novel to me. And at that point, it just made a lot more sense to me. I don't know why. And it was one that I just kept thinking about after the fact. And I think that that's always the sign that I really like something or it was impactful in some way, shape, or form, is that it just really stuck with me.
I'm looking at, screen caps from it. Every single shot is from nighttime, huh?
Yeah, it's very like, it's very pretty. It's a pretty movie. It's very like neon and, it's angsty. It's good. I really liked it, and I think I'd put it in my list. Now, the one thing I want to say, the caveat I have here is there's a lot of movies that released this year that I haven't seen yet because I haven't been able to. Queer, which I'll be able to see this weekend. I really want to see The Brutalist. I just know vibe-wise, I've always loved Adrian Brody. I just think he's went through he was taking money from where he could get it and getting some bad casting jobs. But I really want to see The Brutalist. I want to see The Last Showgirl. I'm a huge Gia Coppola fan. And then Baby Girl also with Nicole Kidman. I'm excited to see all those movies. Those are all 2024 releases that I'm not sure I'm going to get to see before the end of the year just because of availability. But so this is a little hard for me to put together because I feel like there's going to be some of these that would probably take places. But for right now, that's what I would do.
And of all the things, I'd argue you're even more of a movie guy than a music guy. Maybe not. I don't know, man. But you definitely are up on movies. And
I try to be because I
actively,
like it a lot,
this is something we've talked about endlessly. It's like something actively.
So I take some of those with a grain of salt, but that's where I have it right now.
Cool. Ready for the next one? Mm-hmm. All right, next one is shows. Struggled with this one because I think I found some shows that didn't come out in 2024 or I watched second halves or next season that came out in 2024.
Yep.
I like The Diplomat. I thought the second season of The Diplomat was so fucking good. I don't know what it is. It might not even be a good show. I'm open to somebody's like, it's not a good show, dude. I like it. I like the pacing. I like the feel of it. I like corporate espionage movies. It's in a similar category. The Diplomat is in a similar category of the same feeling I get of watching Moneyball. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Sure.
I don't know what it is. I don't have the words to tell you why I like it, but I love The Diplomat. So if you liked the first season of The Diplomat and you haven't seen season 2, or you like things like Moneyball, if you've seen Homeland, if you're open to like political dramas, it's hard. It's not the politics are backseat. It's just the drama of the characters. I really like The Diplomat. Presumed Innocent with Jake G. I thought that was fucking dope. A very like twisty, turny. You think you know what you're getting. I love Jake Gyllenhaal, and I'll consume just about anything that he's part of. I thought that this show was dope. Loved the ending, and I don't want to spoil anything, but I really enjoyed that show. And then also, see, this is what sucks because I watch so much TV, but I'm such a stinker about trying stuff when it's been recommended to me. It's like, for instance, I watched Mayor of Easttown, I think 2024, and that was not new this year, but that would have been. That's with a bullet, one of the best shows I've ever watched. Also, Only Murders in the Building, a good feel-good show. I like Martin Short now. I think he's stellar. That's about it, though, dude. Like, for somebody that watches a lot of shows, Michelle and I watch a lot of TV. Nothing jumped out at me as something rankable, man.
Buddy, I don't have anything on here. I tried really hard. I like looked up stuff and was like, I'm forgetting stuff. I don't know what I think that like number one, I've really tried to cut down on screen time. And I think I've done it pretty successfully. And so TV shows, I have to really want to watch a TV show to watch a TV show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Plus, I have limited time in the evening at this point, between
sure.
G and then we have to get up early to take her. So, in a lot of cases, like, I mean, I'll start things, but nothing is like connecting with me much at all. I watched that show, Disclaimer. It was okay.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not going to tell you I think it was great. It was entertaining. I watched the whole
Yeah.
thing. That's the only thing I wrote down on here. I don't know what to tell you, man. I worked hard at it too. I kept looking. I was like, I'm just forgetting stuff, but I just like, I don't know what it was, man. But like, even the stuff I watched, I was like, yeah, it's fine. It was entertaining, I guess, but I wouldn't tell you I thought it was great by any stretch.
Yeah, man.
Wouldn't
I don't
recommend
know. I'm looking at a list now as we're talking, just thinking like, did we like Three Body Problem was fine. I liked it, but I couldn't put it in a ranking. I am interested in watching that Jeff Goldblum Chaos show.
Oh yeah,
with the Greek gods or whatever it is, but it hasn't pulled me in yet. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Shows.
I don't know, man. It just nothing was working for me, bro. I don't know what to. Just is what it is, you know.
Yeah, it is what it is. So,
so I don't really have anything on this list. Maybe disclaimer, but I wouldn't. I don't know. I don't know that I would highly recommend it either.
Yeah. No,
I just also didn't watch much,
and I watched
a lot of movies.
Yeah, you're a movie guy.
A lot of movies. I've gone to theaters, a boatload. I can tell you exactly how many times because of my thing. And I've watched a lot of movies at home too. Actually, it was harder to find 2024 releases. I was getting caught up on a lot of 2022, 2023 stuff that I didn't get to. So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, not for me this year.
No, it's all good. There's plenty of content to come back to that has 3 or 4 seasons you haven't watched. That
if somebody's got stuff, recommend it.
Yeah, please. And you know what we like, so give us some shows to watch. I'm down to seek it out, too, if that's what we have to do. But, yeah, man, I don't know. As somebody who watches a lot of shows with his better half at night, that person is me.
I don't know.
I didn't feel great
kind
about
of
it.
Presumed
Innocent would probably be
that was fun. It was fun to keep up on, and talk about. But
all right, moving on. We have meals, cops, and then somebody asked us for athletes. So that'll be a fun one we wrap up. Let's do meals and then cops, and then we'll wrap. So meals. How about you start us off?
I got 3. I worked, but I could only do the 3. And I know you're going to put this too, but Menchirashi was obviously so good. We went there a million times. I would have gone a million more if it was near me.
I could have eaten it every night while we were there.
Hey, I almost wish we would have.
So, Coop went back to Japan right after we got home. And I think it's because, was it the Bachelor contestant? Somebody
I don't know.
Abby showed me the video. Something happened. And because, I went twice. Every party went twice in a different arrangement of people. The second time me, you, Mishan went. First time me, Abby, Mishan went. You guys went separately, etc. It was a 15 max 20-minute wait.
I think when we did lunch, it took more like 30 minutes solid.
Sure.
But that was, it was lunch.
That was max, though, right? Yeah. Cooper said when he and Andy went to go, it was through the turnstile, down the little alleyway, around a corner, and then around another corner. Like, they were like, it would have been like 2 hours or something. Mm-hmm. So something has happened. So
I probably still would have done it, if I'm being honest with you, but now knowing would make it worse than seeing it the first time.
It was such a perfect example of just like, here, just regular, good, not overdone. It's got a broth. It has green onion as garnish, and then noodles. And then you could add fried chicken. You and Mission did the fried chicken. I got the little fried shrimp. But anyway, to echo, yes, Menchirashi was fucking stellar.
Yes, that one was with a bullet. I'm not, dude. I've just not been into going out to eat.
No,
so
and you're not really
been
much of a
eating at home
food guy. Like, you like food, but you're not
motivated.
You're not food motivated. Yeah. No.
So honestly, just eating at home, I would put on here as like a thing. You know what I mean? Just like, it feels like we'll do very boring things. It's very like procedural during the week, and then usually on Sunday, on Saturday we'll go to the grocery store and just buy special stuff. Meal, yeah. And then doing that kind of thing was hitting for us.
Fun,
like just doing like a couple, like something that takes a lot longer. That I couldn't tell you exactly what it was, but any of those meals I liked better than going out to any of the meals.
Yeah, sure.
I did go to pizza Halloween night, and it was just like
pizza Halloween night.
After we went trick or treating, we went out and had pizza at the place we go to, and it was just the perfect vibe in there. You know what I mean? Like, couple kids in there. It was some kind of end of the night Halloween. Yeah, staff was dressed up, but it wasn't annoying. They were they're like cool college kids, and it was like just a nice overall experience. And it was like that was as good as any like nice meal I've gone out and had.
Dope.
So I put that on there.
Yeah. Fun.
Wasn't anything specific.
I didn't expect you to go deep in this one.
Not for me as much, but hear you.
I have 3 with a bullet, and then I have a couple of honorable mentions. One, Menchirashi also made my list. Was the first thing I thought I got the same thing both time. It's just like the udon with broth and then the fried shrimp. Absolutely stellar. Loved it so much. I will say I bought some dashi powder to make udon noodles and then make the broth. I was validated to find that that's what Coop and Andy also have. That is like the accepted dashi powder. In my opinion, it's pretty close to the broth, man. Obviously, they're not using a dashi powder. They're doing it all from scratch and this and that, but it's pretty fucking close. So if you ever wanted to do that, I can shoot you that rec. Menchi Rashi. Secondly, in Japan, my buddy Kyle took us to Suage, Suage. It's soup curry. It's from like Hokkaido made. It's a Hokkaido dish. It's soup curry. So it's like Japanese curry thinned down more into like a broth with a lot of roasted vegetables and then a plate of like pressed white rice pressed down into the plate so you can take a nice scoop, dip it, do the whole thing. We have 2 packets of the soup curry in our pantry, and we are saving it for a special occasion. You know what I mean? We make in terms of cooking at home, we make a pork noodle soup from Allison Roman's YouTube channel. We've done it weekly for 6-7 months at this point, and is now morphed into our way of making it. So I wanted to throw that on there. Another honorable mention would be about this pork curry packet from Loft in Tokyo. If anyone out there is listening, if you live in Japan and you would be willing to proxy this for me, or if you're savvy on the internet and you can find it out, it's from Loft. It came in a little red box. It was 2 little geishas, kind of like crying tears because it was so hot. That's what it's insinuating. It was like 10 out of 10 hot is what the box said or something. Little packet of curry, put it in boiling water. I thought it was absolutely stellar. One of the best things I ate. So if somebody could do that, I'll pay a lot of money for you to send me a dozen of these pork curry packets. Bento in Kyoto or in Tokyo. That's about it, dude. I'm trying to think like what would be like more present in Denver area, but that's about it, dude. Everything in Japan and a lot of cooking at home. A lot of cooking at home too.
Yeah.
Regulars. All right, let's move on to Cops Bronco. I've got 3 things here and some honorable mentions. You want to go or you want me to go?
You can go.
Viz Vim denim jacket. I bought that, whatever, string of numbers, unwashed. It's just the unwashed raw denim jacket type 2. Very nice and oversized. I sized up, so it's even roomier. I can fit a hoodie underneath comfortably, flannel, whatever, underneath. It's one of those things where it's just perfect. It's a perfect piece. I love it so much, and it's what I would wear every day if I didn't also have other clothes that I loved a lot. But I could easily, if I could get rid of everything and have one jacket, that would be easy. I wouldn't even think. I could do it right now and close my eyes, snap my fingers. The Neuro Fuzzy. I just know it's going to get a lot of use, and I'm happy to have had my mind changed. So I'm very happy about the Neuro Fuzzy. I bought for probably $2.20 USD Family Mart beanie, that gray one that I've been wearing. Again, if you live in Japan, you want to cop a couple of those, send them over. Send them to me, I'll pay you. And I bought a couple Hero pieces. This jacket from Chris. The other Navy jacket from Chris. Wore it in Japan when we met up with the Hero crew. And a big one I just copped. Baker Creek's Heirloom Seeds 2025 seed catalog. They sell them at Whole Foods. Now, Timothy, something I want to talk to you explicitly about. On the cover, every year they choose a magnificent photograph. It's a collector's thing. I will buy one every single year now. They could be $80 and I'd buy it. I think it's like $13 and it could be $160 and I'd buy this catalog. I think it's beautiful. It has hundreds of options of seeds, both heirloom, rare, you know.
Like order them?
Yeah, and then you order them.
Oh.
But
this is just the catalog.
Just the catalog. You can go on the website and do it. But the catalog is organized in such a way where they talk about all of the, how, you know, people that work for them, how they acquired some of these seeds, and then hundreds. I mean, bro, there's probably 15 pages of hot peppers alone. And every single one of them has, this was, you know, to reference a melon. It'll be like, there's one that's called like the Cassava Bidwell melon. And it's like a U.S. general in 1862 or something grew this regularly and has been passed down. And so it's like heirloom seeds and heirloom seeds with a ton of information of where it came from. You know, this is believed to come from South Africa or whatever it is. Just, I love it. It's just pure information. with beautiful photographs. But the cover this year is this thing. It looks like a mix between a pumpkin and a squash, all like a gourd almost, weird color, but it's cantaloupe on the inside. So I'm going to try to grow that for us, Bronco. But that one actually, dude, I was looking through it last night, and I have to take it in chunks because it's so overwhelming how much information there is. I will look at every single page a dozen times before I even place an order for seeds. I'm starting fresh this year. Throwing away all my seeds, starting fresh. Shit got fucked up last year. So we are... I love the Baker Creek catalog. That's a cop for the year. I love it. Can't show enough love about that. So that would be all of my cops. Oh, and my Boro jacket that I love so dearly.
Got that this year?
Yeah, bro. I got that this May.
God, you certainly got the wear out of
Hell
it.
yeah, I did.
Even at full retail. Okay. Things I bought that I liked. I bought a Nestro blazer. The black linen. It's like a thick black, almost like butcher linen in Japan, and I love it, and I need more stuff from them because I really like that piece. It just fits me great. Exactly what I was looking for. It was one of those things where you always joked that it was just like, oh, I just tried it on. I was like, no, I've been looking for this for like
You were looking
years.
for it, and you knew what you were looking
it
for.
It fit, and it was the exact material I wanted. I was like, done. I've been looking for this for ages.
Call it. Take it.
I've loved that. Worn it a ton. The surprising one for me is the Camille Fortune zip hoodie. Just not normally a hoodie guy in general. Like
I'd even go as far as say in the last couple of years, you've completely made a declarative statement you won't wear hoodies.
Yeah, and I don't. But I tried this, and I don't know what it was about the shape, the color. I mean, it's kind of built for me. And I was like, this is great. I love this piece. I think that it's like because it's so heavy. It's also like a standalone. It's not really
sick.
like you wear it underneath things necessarily.
Yeah, you wear it as a jacket.
So I really liked that, and it was my first Camille piece, and I really it's really great. Ended up getting the Lemaire boxy jacket after switching some things around.
One, right?
I mostly got it because it was like, oh, I gotta make this. I bought one thing, it wasn't working, and it was just one of these things where I was like, I'll just get this. I love Lemaire. I've never had a boxy jacket from them, but I really like. I mean, I would even tell you when I first got it and went home, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to love the shape of this sleeve. And then something just connected with me on it, and now I love it. I love it. I love the way it fits. Now I'm worried about wearing it too much because I don't want to wear it out, although I know they always make one. But I love the color. I've been looking for like a chocolate brown colored jacket for a while, so I don't know why I didn't get it sooner, but is the way it is. And then had trouble choosing because I bought a lot of Harrell this year, but honestly, just the denim. The denim fits so well. It somehow feels substantial, but it also feels kind of like, I don't want to say thin because that's not true, because it doesn't feel
like a washed nature to it.
You know, sometimes when you get heavier jeans and you're like, if you stretch it at all or do anything weird, you're like, oh, I'm gonna break these. That never happens. Like pulling on your skin in weird ways. You know what I mean? It's like it doesn't have stretch to it, but it feels like it does, or something. You know what I mean? I don't know. It just has this like, they're really comfortable without sacrificing like weight.
His aura has translated into the clothing. He's the coolest guy I've ever seen. Coolest way about being.
I love the way they hang. I love the way they fit. It's just sort of like this, I've tried a lot of different jeans, and I only really buy vintage jeans. These are the number one now. So I really love them. I love everything they do. Everything I bought from them has been great.
Yeah, dude.
But that is the denim itself, I think, is the best. So that would be that's my fifth.
Money, and I finally hemmed those black ones for you too. So
I got those
roll.
back in business now too. I actually forgot about that. I put those in my closet when I got home and I forgot. So I'll get those out this week. What else do we have?
That's about it, bro. Somebody had asked top 3 athletes just based on vibe, not based on skill. I only got one. Travis Hunter. He is the Heisman this year. He is Colorado's local hero. You don't give a fuck about football, but if we're talking pure fucking athleticism, dude, if you could distill athleticism down, it's that individual. It's absolutely remarkable to watch him play sports, basketball or football. But I actually saw a video of him fucking dunking. He's a freak. He's a freak. Cannot be replicated. So Travis Hunter, he deserves the Heisman Trophy this year.
You only had the one?
I don't. Nobody else needs mentions. The other one I had written down was Tracy McGrady.
I wrote these down fast. I mean, that's a great answer.
Yeah, he's just cool.
That is true. My number one with a bullet, Chris Webber, notorious bad boy. Nobody likes him. Number 4.
Yeah.
All through my career in soccer, I was always number 4.
Yeah, hell
because of Chris Webber. And every time I said that, like, why Chris Webber? He's an asshole. And I'm like,
It's tight, dude.
You fucking watch highlights of him though. It's like, man, he could body a guy.
Yeah, dude.
No problem.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
Allen Iverson, obviously, that's an easy one. Vince Carter, we talked about him just being pure cool.
Yeah.
Penny Hardaway, just always thought he was awesome. And the professor from And One.
Oh,
gotta go up there.
Grayson Boucher.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
I don't want to have kids, but when I was a kid, I always thought if I had a kid, I'd name the kid Grayson. Because I thought his name was tight. I swear to God, I'm not joking.
Very sick.
Grayson, and I used to say Grayson Boucher before I became worldly and understand it was Grayson Boucher. Boucher. You also, I'm going to throw in, you forgot one person.
I'm sure Kevin Garnett should go on.
Kevin Garnett was going to be what I was going to say. And
Yeah.
also, we've talked about this, and it's only become more severe, so to speak. Shaquille O'Neal is in every commercial, pregame, postgame basketball, sports. He's omnipresent. You see somebody like Shaquille O'Neal, and you think,
It's never like
where do
annoyed
you
when you see
live?
him. You know what I mean?
No,
Yeah,
he's
you're
the
like,
coolest guy in the
"That's
room.
funny."
He's the richest guy in every room he steps into. He is the most self-confident, self-assured. You just gotta love Shaquille O'Neal, dude. He has a way about him that other people don't.
And I don't watch any sort of sports stuff, especially not anymore, but I'll still, if I see clips or if I'm at the gym, I'll tune into anything where he and Charles Barkley are discussing things because they're just, I think they're the best comedians in sports.
Yeah, I
They're so
completely agree.
funny.
Just the way they're always bickering at each other, and yeah, they're just so funny.
Plus,
and the way Charles Barkley is hilarious.
The way
he talks is so fucking funny.
Yeah. I don't forget where he from, Mississippi, or where's he from?
You know what? You might be right.
Yeah, the things he says are so. You know how much we love like regional things, and he's just full of them.
He's got almost. And again, let's just look it up because I am curious now.
Well, you know what somebody said? I think it was whoever asked this said Ken Griffey Jr. and that is a fantastic answer. He had those cool chains, kind of tight on him, and he looked cool. He had the great mustache. He was so distinctly cool. I got my grandma to buy me a Ken Griffey Jr. jersey just because I thought he was so cool. I wanted that cool Mariners jersey.
Yeah,
I still have it somewhere.
That's so sick.
Yeah,
we got to bring back baseball into the spotlight because my thing is it's wrongfully only followed by nerds, and I think it is a cool sport.
Yeah, they just gotta speed that fucker up a little bit.
Well, they did.
I know
they did.
And people about that.
Charles Barkley's from Leeds, Alabama.
Oh, Alabama. Yeah. That's great. That makes sense.
Man, I love Charles Barkley. You ever seen his golf swing? We've talked about this.
Yeah, he's psycho.
He has the yips or whatever it's called, where he can swing. He's a good golfer, but off the tee, I think he's solved it now. But you've seen it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Yeah. Gets up there at the top of his swing.
Yeah.
Stops and then follows through. It's fucking crazy. Yeah. But it's not a bit.
It feels like I don't know how physically to do it.
No, yeah, it's harder to do that than to just. But whatever it is, it's I love it. That definitely endeared me to him a lot. But yeah, bro. So we've been in here for what, about 4 hours?
I think we're going on 4. No, we're gonna be at a solid 2 though.
Yeah.
Was that everything?
That's everything that I got, Pally.
Okay, great. Well, those are our top 3s. We should probably post them somewhere. I'll send it to you, and you can figure out how to do that on Discord.
Cool.
What else is going on around here? Is there anything you need to shout out? A lot of restocks and stuff coming up. New Capital, we'd already talked about that, but there'll be even more New Capital.
New Capital just hit the site, so if you're keen for love those blankets, the blankets are absolutely stellar. Makes a great gift.
Also got a lot of great scarves right now, which are good, probably the best gifts, to be honest.
Kind of a perfect time for them to have landed. Yeah. Double RL, we have a big shipment coming Thursday. We have Binu soaps and incense restock Thursday. We have Margin restock Thursday. This is when it's tracking to land. We did, I don't know if I said this on the last pod, if we had gotten it yet. There was a Harrow box that was lost in transit, lost somewhere in Kentucky. It was fortunately found. Yeah, he's got it on right now. It was fortunately found somewhere in a lost and found bin, somewhere in a UPS sorting facility, somewhere in the United States. It made its way safely to us. We have since received it. It's online. It's a cold weather tanker jacket, as you can see on Uncle Brondo right there, and then a short twill beige coat. So think, you know what it reminds me of? Who has that jacket? Do you remember that green Levi's vintage clothing jacket I got from Coop? Size medium, a size 3 size bigger than it should have been.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's like that. It's like a chore coat, but a little longer, a little fuller of a fit, but not a 3/4 length coat, not a driving.
If you follow
coat.
Chris, he's posted about 1,000 pictures of it.
Yeah, if you can parse through the other things he's been posting up.
He's busy.
In his other cops. So that's about it. We have some Lady White random restocks looking like they're going to come here eventually. CDG Perfume did restock
a little,
but just a small amount. But we have a larger one coming. So if you were keen for some samplers, those are back online. We got 1 unit of Hinoki because that's all they could deliver. Maybe that's already been snatched up. Candles. Some Kyoto scent, Avignon.
I don't know if we've shouted it out on here because it kind of came in the middle of Black Friday, but all candles are back in stock. Our candles.
Oh yeah.
So Petricorn Tobacco, the classic that flew off the shelves last time. Santal and Musk back in the mix. I think a very underappreciated one. I mean, it sells just as well as the other one. I don't know why but it probably the less known of the two.
Yeah.
And it's really good. And then I don't think, maybe we mentioned this and I'm just forgetting, but got the double wicker. So it's double the amount of candle, all off the same stuff. So it still has that crazy burn time and throw that we were kind of known for on the first one. Just a bigger boy. Save some money. Instead of buying 2 little ones, you got 1 big boy that'll last a really long time with 2X. So I got that one at home. It's been great. I mean, it just really feels like you could burn that thing for days and it would still be going.
Yeah,
so,
hell yeah.
So that's really those good gifts too. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
those are good too.
Those that about rounds it out, Bronco.
Yeah.
Obviously, at the end of this month, early January, we do start getting the earliest of shipments.
We'll start
it
to
seems
see
to be
some
earlier
stuff,
and earlier every year too. So early January, you can start to expect spring product to start shipping. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if in a week or two, there's a couple brands that I could think of right off the bat. They're going to hit us up and say product's ready.
Have been primed, so
it's going to happen here sooner than later. So keep an eye on that. Be in touch, and I hope everyone listening has a good rest of their week. This comes out Thursday. And a nice Christmas.
Well, there'll be another one before then. But
yeah. I still hope it, though.
Yeah. Doesn't mean you're not hoping for it the same. All right. Let's go ahead and get out.
All right.